Today, I am answering the question that literally nobody has asked me, but you're probably all thinking it. You're probably thinking, how do Cyprus supermarkets compare to those in the UK, and which one is the cheapest? If you're going to shop here, whether you're on holiday, whether you're visiting, I'm going to talk you through it tonight. You're watching Cyprus Unfiltered. I tell you real stories about real life here in Cyprus. Now, look, what I just want to say is, first of all, whenever you're online and whenever you are talking to people asking about the cost of living in Cyprus, you'll get a whole range of answers. People will say it's expensive. People will say it's cheap. And honestly, it depends who you ask because everybody has an opinion. Why? Well, because expensive is relative to the person answering the question. So even as I was doing this, I had a view about what was expensive, what was cheap. And I have a perception about Cyprus, having go back to when you go back to the UK. But doing this experience or doing this experiment for this video, it's been quite opening for me. So instead of relying on the opinions of people on Facebook, people say my mate says this or they say that, we're going to look at actual numbers tonight, right? So what I'm going to do is I am going to compare the basket of kind of common groceries. And we're going to go across Philippos, Alphamega, Sklavenitis, Lidl, and then as a baseline, Tesco, as in Tesco in the UK, because a lot of people will be familiar with Tesco, and it's going to give us something to compare it to rather than just each other. And we're going to find out which supermarket comes out cheapest. Now, the thing is, I want to tell you about how this comparison was done, because there are some caveats to all of this, right, before we start, because I know somebody's going to complain otherwise. So this wasn't all done in the same day, right? Prices were collected over about a 3-week period for the purpose of this video. Why was that? Well, I'll be honest, we didn't really want to eat 48 eggs in a week. So we were doing our normal shopping. We kind of spaced it out a little bit and we collected the receipts. And this is what we're pulling together tonight. Now, most of the prices that you're going to see will have come from our own receipts. Not all of them, though, but most of them. Some of the prices have been sourced online where necessary. So in the instance of Tesco, I couldn't go to Tesco and do the same shopping. So we pulled the figures on the Tesco online shopping. And there's going to be some instances where I've had to fill in the blanks from, I think it's Alphamega online, because I wanted to give as a complete a data set as possible. I'm going to call that all out. I'm going to show you all tonight which ones are on my receipts, which ones aren't. Okay. So you're going to get a very, very honest and unfiltered view of what it actually costs. This isn't intended to be a scientific study. It really isn't. It's just a real world snapshot of what our family actually buys, probably what your family might buy, right? So the basket that we're going to go through contains actual products, things that we purchased. And the goal isn't to prove whether one supermarket is good or bad. It's not to prove, doesn't make, just because a price doesn't necessarily dictate quality, right? The goal is simply to provide useful information for you guys watching. Now, before we get into that, I do just want to give a shout out to my wife, Asha, because she did the shopping. She was doing all the shopping. She went and did all the trips, and I just gathered the receipts and did stuff with the numbers. So there we go. But look, on that note, I haven't included every supermarket on the island. I know already people are going to be going, but you didn't do this one or you didn't do that one, right? I know I didn't. I can't do all of the supermarkets on the island because, let's be honest, one, there's loads of them. Two, I was trying to keep the purchase dates as close as possible because I know prices fluctuate. And so if I'd have done this over a 6-month period to gather all the data from all the shopping centers or from all the supermarkets, then somebody would go, yeah, but that was 6 months ago, right? So I've tried to keep the distance as close as possible in terms of the time span. And that naturally dictates what's on my doorstep. And so the shops that we go to are the ones that we're going to go through tonight. Now, there are other shops. You've got EU Foods, you've got MAS or MAS, however you pronounce it. There are other shops for sure. But we've done the mainstream ones. We've done the ones that we frequent quite often. And they're typically the ones that we will go to. So that's what we've done. We tried to make it the popular mainstream shops. Of course, there's going to be some tiny little micro market that's cheaper than the stuff that you're going to see tonight. But not everybody's got access to all the local ones. There's going to be stuff over in Larnaca that we don't have in Paphos, and there's going to be stuff in Paphos that we don't have in Larnaca, right? So that is what we're going through tonight. And so what I want to do is we are going to go, it's going to be quite interactive. but it's going to be predominantly on a tool that I've built for this. So you should be able to see this in just a second. There we go. Right. Now, I'm going to talk through each of these sections because what we have here, we've got Philippos, Alphamega, Sklavenitis, Lidl, and then Tesco as the baseline. Okay. Now, you'll see here there are averages of prices. So straight away, you're looking at this and you're going to go, Sklavenitis is the most expensive, right? Tesco, the equivalent converted at this here, so it's 1.14 euros. I know it's probably 1.15, but then by the time you've actually changed your money and everything else, it's probably closer to 1.14 if you're lucky. So that's coming in at 25 euros. So the UK, for the food that we're going to go through tonight, is definitely cheaper. It is. And people will say, oh, yeah, but the UK, the cost of living, all of this, the crisis in the UK. Honestly, when I go back to the UK on business, it feels like things are on sale. I've talked about the blueberries in the past, and blueberries at the moment are quite cheap here because it seems to be in season. But when I go back to the UK, it genuinely feels like things are on sale. And my friends in the UK, they're all saying how expensive it is. And I'm walking around going, actually quite cheap by comparison. Like I say, it's all relative to the person making the comment. So what do we have here, right? First of all, we have got apples, pink lady apples to be precise. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each of these. I'm going to go through a bit of a deep dive. I'm going to give you an opportunity to also get access to this at the end if you want it, right? But anyway, pink lady apples we've got here, just making sure my face isn't covering the chart. It's not. So for apples, despite the fact that Sklavenitis is the most expensive overall, for the pink lady apples, on average per kilo, it is cheaper, right? Now, I know that some of this will be being pulled from the data that we've got, and so this is the amount that we've bought and stuff like that. But Sklavenitis, for all intents and purposes, it's only beaten by Tesco. Okay, that's on the apples. And go to sliced bread. Let's have a look at the sliced bread. Philippos seems to be quite expensive for sliced bread. Now, I should note at this point that the sliced bread is the store brands. We bought each of the store's own brands, and we just bought their own sliced bread. So it was whatever their logo was on the bread, that's the one that we bought, and we tried to buy the cheapest ones just to see the prices. Now, Philippos comes in top, most expensive. Sklavenitis is still the cheapest, aside from Tesco. Tesco is still cheap by comparison. And it's one of the things I did find out here actually was bread is actually quite expensive by comparison to the UK. And you can get some loaves that are about €1, and typically they're not the sliced bread that you'd stick in a toaster. They are like the home-baked, kind of like a round type thing, and it's chopped in slices, and it's lovely. So you can get cheaper bread, but to make it fair for the comparison, I've tried to do it like this, where we're taking the store's own brands, okay? Bananas. This is where things start to change a little bit. So Philippos comes down in price. Alphamega comes in €2.19. Sklavenitis is 175. We've got Lidl at 169, and Tesco still cheaper for bananas. Okay. Chicken. What do you think chicken's at? This was surprising because it looks like the chart doesn't work, but actually, chicken seems to be about the same price no matter where you go. So if you're in Tesco buying chicken back home, it's about the same price as it is on the island, right? Just there's not much in it, and you can see it there. Penne pasta, this is. What a difference. So Lidl coming in at 68 euro cents for this penne pasta. I can't remember the quantities, but it was 68 cents. Tesco, for the same volume, is coming in at 79 cents. And then you can see here, the other three more expensive than Lidl. Lidl does have things that are quite a bit cheaper than some of these supermarkets. So as an example, we haven't got onto milk yet, but as an example, if you were to buy oat milk, if you drink oat milk, if you drink almond milk, you'll find that you can quite often get that for €1 or €1.50 in Lidl. I think it's €1.50. Whereas the same thing in Philippos was going to cost you probably like €3. Okay. So Lidl can be quite a lot cheaper for certain things, not for everything, but for certain things. So pasta's cheaper in Lidl. Spaghetti, on the other hand, for some reason, spaghetti is more even across the board. Don't know why it's more expensive, but spaghetti is more expensive. So it is. Let me go to milk. Now, this one kind of grieves me a little bit because although we were doing, I think ours are in 1.5 litres for these prices. When you go to any supermarket and you buy a bottle of, let's say, semi-skimmed milk, what we find is that it's around about €3, often just shy of that, maybe 2.85, 2.90. And milk always feels expensive on the island. When you go back to the UK, I don't remember milk being this expensive. And clearly, Tesco's coming in at the cheapest there. But I just don't remember milk being that expensive, excuse me, back in the UK. But across the board, it is relatively even. Like a bottle of milk in most shops is going to cost you about the same within a few cents. And milk's not a big variant. Then we go to rice. There's a big difference here for some reason. Sklavenitis, their rice seems to be more expensive. That's certainly what we've experienced. Now, if you go to Lidl, Lidl's still the cheapest. But hey, if you're in England, you're getting a good deal. You're getting the cheapest deal by comparison. Philippos comes in, as you can see there, it's like second most expensive, with Alphamega and Lidl doing the best on the island. Okay, what about tuna? Tuna is very expensive on the island, which I find ridiculous because we live on an island surrounded by fish. And all right, somebody's going to tell me there's no tuna surrounding the island, but tuna seems to be really expensive on the island. Excuse me, 1 second. So tuna seems to be quite expensive by comparison to the UK, unless you go to Lidl. If you go to Lidl, it's a similar price. But everywhere else, you can be paying like for 4 cans of tuna, you can be paying best part of like €7, €8. And so, depending on obviously how many you buy, but tuna for some reason seems quite expensive out here. Now, what these are just the standard tins. Now, I know you can get the big kind of multi-value packs, just like you can get the big ketchups and the big mayonnaise, and of course it's going to be cheaper. So these are just the standard tins that you'd get, like 100 grams or something. But again, per quantity, it's still cheaper in Lidl, and Sklavenitis and Alphamega seem to be more expensive. And then we're going to go to some yogurt. So we're going to go to yogurt here. So we've got Philippos and Sklavenitis as well. Am I pronouncing that? Sklavenitis. Somebody can correct me. Spell it phonetically, please. So that's most expensive. And again, Lidl is coming out cheaper. Tesco, as the baseline, is still cheaper, right? And the other two are trailing behind Sklavenitis. So, again, it's cheaper. Excuse me, sorry. I've been out all day. Went to the water park today. And I don't know why. It was for some reason dried my throat out. I've been drinking all day. But anyway, here we are. Sound like I've been drinking all night. So where we got to? Yes, the fruit. So that's the yogurt fruit. And then if you go to like a strained yogurt, this is more in keeping across the island. Now, it's probably because this is Greek and the other ones weren't. And so when you've got international food, like say the international yogurts, they're going to be slightly different than if you go to a typical Greek yogurt, which is more or less standardized across the island, apart from Lidl, because Lidl will do things cheaper, but it won't be the same yogurt. It'll be a different type of yogurt. But interestingly, that seems to be the only thing so far that I've seen, unless you guys have clocked it and I haven't, where Tesco, the baseline, is actually a little bit more expensive. So there we go. So that is this list here is where I've got complete data across all of the 4 supermarkets. What I'm going to take you through now is I'm going to take you through the data where we don't necessarily have data for all the supermarkets because, and this is what you'll find when you move out to Cyprus. Right, I'll come back to me for a second. One of the big things that we noticed when we came out to Cyprus was that you can't always get what you want in the shop that you want. And you might go, that sounds obvious, Mark. No, because when we used to live near Sainsbury's in the UK, we could just do our shopping in Sainsbury's. And that was it. We could get everything we wanted, everything we needed. And you might go, yeah, but I prefer the Asda whatever, or the Tesco whatever. Yeah, but the point is, you could always get what you wanted. Now, what we find when we go to shops, there'll be certain things that we want, and you go there, and quite often they don't necessarily have the thing that we want. So then you end up going to multiple shops, and actually, to be fair, what you find is it's a bit like the UK used to be. Because if you want the best meat, you go to the butchers, just like you would in the UK. When you get meat from some of these shops, so actually, if we just come back to this, for example, if we go to the chicken, right? Although the chicken price is pretty standard across all of them, in our experience, actually, the Sklavenitis chicken, for some reason, maybe it's just our branch, but for some reason, it always seems to go off sooner than, say, the Alphamega chicken. So we typically buy our meat from, say, Alphamega, even though it's pretty much the same price. will buy meat for the barbecue from Lidl because I like the little sausages. They taste like English sausages, right? So I prefer those. That comes down to preference. But the point I was making was that what you end up doing is you end up going to multiple shops to try and get the things you want. And of course, there's going to be people watching this go, no, you can get everything you want in Philippos, or you can get everything you want in Alphamega. Well, that hasn't necessarily been our experience. You can get lots of things, but like I say, when we couldn't get certain things in the shops, you're going to see the list in a minute. There is a reason why our list isn't complete because we couldn't get the things to compare. So that list that you've just seen is where we could buy the same thing in all the shops. When you go to other shops, you can't always get the same thing. So that being said, let's go down to the list. Let's go have a look at the big list. So what's it all made up of? Right. So I'm going to talk you through this. I'm going to have to move me out of the way because I'm in the way now. I'm blocking you guys. I'll tell you what, let me just get rid of me altogether. There we go. Right. Still here. Hopefully everybody's still here. So what we can see here is, and we're going to go down all of this, we've got Philippos first, then Alphamega, Sklavenitis, Lidl, and then Tesco online. It's called Lidl PDF because that was the PDF version of the receipt that I uploaded. Right. So we had the pink lady apples. Yeah, we put those in. But for some reason, on the days that we went, we weren't able to get Granny Smith apples in Philippos, Sklavenitis, or Lidl. Now, somebody will be watching this going, of course you can get them in Philippos. Yeah, you can. But we just couldn't get them on the day that we went. We tried. That's why we're trying to do it for this video, right? But anyway, so that's why we only had this. But if you look at the price of Granny Smith apples, thereabouts, that was, so you see here underneath, it now says receipt. That is the actual price we paid. In fact, let me just come back. I'm just going to come back to me. I'm going to show you. And somebody will go, no, Mike, you're talking rubbish. Right. They're the receipts of all the shops that you're going through at the moment. One thing I have noticed as well is that if you are trying to save the planet, probably don't go to Alphamega because look at the size of those receipts. It's like, you go that way. It's almost the same products, but I don't get it. Anyway, they use massive receipts. So let's come back to this. Right. So the pink lady we've gone through because we've got data across all of those. The bread we've gone through, we've got data across all of those. Bakery. So this is just sourdough bread because my wife can only get this in Alphamega. She likes sourdough bread. I don't really get it. But anyway, it's like a, I don't know, sourdough. But you can get that in Tesco. Apparently it's cheaper, about €2.17 to the $3.31 that we paid, right? And again, because this says web baseline, this is where we've gone on to the Tesco website and found the product that was nearest to it. Okay. Now, it might be that when you click this, it goes now and the price is slightly different because the prices change quite regularly. But at the time we did this and pulled this comparison together, which was yesterday, then that was the price it was. Bakery. So again, just a wheat loaf. We didn't have data for Philippos. We couldn't get a wheat loaf in Philippos that day. We couldn't get it in Lidl, but we could get it in Alphamega and Sklavenitis. And Sklavenitis was actually cheaper than Tesco. So there you go. It seems to be cheaper. And this is why I was saying that things are surprising, right? Come to me for a second. Saying that things are surprising. In my head, if you were to say to me, Mark, which is the most expensive shop out of the ones we're talking about? And I would have said Alphamega. And if you'd have said, which is the cheapest shop? I would have said Sklavenitis. That's just where it is. And Philippos was kind of somewhere in the middle. But that doesn't seem to be the price. That doesn't seem to be the case. And that's what I'm finding out here. And it's as eye-opening for me as it is maybe for you watching this at home. So that's the breads. Bananas. So we've gone through that. You see the data there for the bananas. And again, you can see we receipted them. It's not me making numbers up. This is the actual price we paid. Okay, because it's on the receipt. Biscuits. So digestive biscuits. And you'll find this with anything that is pretty much British or European or whatever. So we paid £2.10 in, what's the one? Philippos, €2.10 in Philippos, $2.15 and $2.15 in the other two. Lidl didn't have digestive biscuits that day. We couldn't get them. But look at the price difference. In Tesco, they're $1.45, right? Versus $2.10. Now, I'll give you some other comparisons that aren't on here, but I know because I like these types of foods. If you like chocolate raisins, it's very niche, I know, but if you like chocolate raisins, I love them. Then in the UK, I remember there used to be about 60 or 70p if you went into Lidl. And if you went into Tesco or somewhere like that, there'd be about £1, right? But here, they seem to be about €3 for chocolate raisins. The McVitie's biscuits that you've just seen there, substantially cheaper in the UK than they are here. But even basic biscuits like Bourbons or custard creams, you can buy a pack of custard creams in Tesco or Asda for about 45p. Same with the Bourbons, right? You can buy them so freaking cheap. Out here, they'll be like €2, €2.50 or something, for the same thing, because it's all imported. And it's what people don't always get. They just assume that, cost of living is cheap in Cyprus. Depends what you're doing and it depends what you're eating. Because if you're going to continue eating all of your international foods, it's going to get expensive really quick. Right, let's go back to the list. So, carrots. I can't believe that we didn't have carrots on the other days. But anyway, seemingly we couldn't get carrots when we went to the other shops, but Alphamega had them, and carrots are more expensive than the UK. Celeriac. Actually, this is quite annoying because we struggle to get this sometimes in the UK. My wife makes some Polish soup. It's like a Polish broth soup with this, and we can't always get it. So that I do actually understand, because you can't always get it in the shops, and even in the shops that sell it, you can't always get it. The cheese sticks. Okay, yeah, my son loves these, but again, we paid $1.95 for them. But again, you can't always get them in the shops. You can get cheese, of course, you can get cheese, but we couldn't get these particular ones that he likes. I have to go to Alphamega for them. Chicken, we've gone through. Crisps. Okay, cool. Now I appreciate, right? So the crisps here. Let me just talk of this. So the crisps. I don't know what brand this is. I don't know what ones we bought. Of course, it's going to be different because there's loads of different types of crisps if you buy own brand or whatever. But what I would say here about crisps, if you're buying crisps on the island, you'll see that Walker's is essentially another company called Lay's. Well, it's not another company, it's the same company as I understand it. It's the same flavors and everything else. I think it's just the European arm of Walker's in the UK. And so it's called Lay's, Lays. And what you'll find is that the crisps are generally more expensive. But, and this is something I have noticed, I'm saying about how the UK feels like everything's on sale. When you go into Philippos, you can buy Pringles. And quite often you'll get them for maybe €1.50. I can't remember the last time I saw Pringles that cheap in the UK, because everything does seem to have gone up. Like, even though I'm saying it's cheaper, things in the UK do seem to have gone up. But if you were to look at, and here's an example. So, what are they called? Jacob's favorite crisp. What are they called? I hope he's not watching. Bloody hell. I forgot what they're called. That's a really rubbish example, isn't it? Okay, there are some crisps that the name escapes me. What are they? Takis, Takis. I think they're Spanish or Mexican. So I hadn't seen Takis in the UK at all. Like, it wasn't a thing. And then they were selling them on the island. And the great thing is, when you are on the island, because pretty much everything's imported, you do see stuff that you wouldn't see in the UK. So you get stuff in, say, from America, and you get stuff in, if you go into like the Power Shop, you get stuff from all around the world. You can eat foods from all over. Not cheap, but you can eat food from all over. And so Takis, when we first came out to Cyprus, they were crisps that we could buy on the island. And my son, I've got him into spicy food. So he loved these spicy Takis. His mates couldn't eat them, but he was loving them. And so was I, my wife, not so much. But you couldn't buy them at home. But then one of the trips, I think it was only like maybe last year, I was back in the UK and we saw them in the supermarkets. You could buy Takis just like you could buy Doritos or anything else. You could buy them in the supermarkets. And they were maybe a couple of pounds, right, for the same bags. Now, out here, for the most part, they were also a couple of pounds. A couple of euros. But there was a particular flavour when it first came out on the island. You could only buy it in the Power Shop, and they were €6 for a packet of crisps. €6 for a packet of crisps. Like, come on. So anyway, things like that, crisps, to be fair, you can always find something that's reasonably priced, but generally it's more expensive. Like Walker's, the Lay's, generally it's more expensive here. But like everything Cypriot, they come in massive bags. It's like a grab bag in the UK, and this is just the bags that everybody eats because the food portions and everything seems to be so big. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about crisps now. Eggs. So this is one that people are interested in. Didn't make the list above because we couldn't on the day get them in Lidl. Like, who'd have thought you can't buy eggs in Lidl, but we couldn't on the day that we went. And this is the point I'm trying to make, is that you will go and you can't always get the thing you want. But in this instance, What's the middle one? Second one, Alphamega. Yeah, Alphamega is €3.25 as opposed to 3.69, 3.85, but still more expensive than the UK. Not by much, because that's 3.25. Actually, it's the same price as the UK when you convert it to euros. So it's about the same price as the UK. Fajita kits. So if anybody remembers those old El Pasos, so the same price kit out here, 4.49 versus 3.42 in the UK. What you'll find is that obviously in the UK, you can always get the supermarket's own brands, right? And actually, this is an interesting point. So you can always get the supermarket own brand rather than the big branded ones. But out here, Mexican's not really a thing, so they import it. And they're not going to import the Tesco variant. They're just going to import the El Paso one. So even though the prices are a little bit cheaper in the UK, you can literally buy the same thing of the Tesco homebrew or the Asda homebrew, and it's even cheaper, right? So you're always stuck with like the bigger branded stuff out here when you're buying international. You're never going to get the Tesco equivalent. Not strictly true. You can get Waitrose on the island, but that's double the price anyway of what it is back home. So the other thing, and I'm pausing on fajitas because I quite like Indian food, but as you can tell by the color of my skin, I'm not Indian. So I don't cook very well. I cook from a jar, like a lot of people, right? I will literally buy a jar of like chicken madras or tikka or balti, whatever takes your fancy. And I've cooked my chicken, I've fried it, and I pour the jar in and I go, wait, I've cooked Indian tonight. Right? Then in the UK, I remember those jars used to be about £1. I think they've gone up now. I think they're maybe 150 or £2. And so they've definitely gone up from the last time I remember. But here, a single jar can be €3, €4, depending on where you are. So it is more expensive because, again, it's the branded stuff that you're getting. I forgot what it's called, Sharwood's or something like that. You can only buy the big branded stuff. So again, it's more expensive. Granola, cereal. Oh my word. So I know this granola is not strictly cereal, but granola here, you can see the price versus the UK, right? This is Tesco's granola. Oh, why is my Siri's decided to kick into life? Right. 6.69 is what we pay for granola in that one's Philippos. And this one, 5.95 is what we paid. Oh no, we didn't pay. So you see here it says web price. We didn't actually pay it on the day because we clearly couldn't get it on the day. But on the day, if you could have bought it, this is the web price one. This is where we've had to fill in some blanks to get some extra data. 5.95. Now I remember being able to buy granola in Lidl in the UK or Aldi, and it was super cheap. Same with cereal, to be fair. Like you get the big boxes of cereal, you get the big boxes of cereal in the UK, whether it be cornflakes or whatever. And maybe what? If you get the really big boxes, like Special K, not Special K. Well, yeah, you do get Special K, but what's the other one? Crunchy Nut Cornflakes. You can get like the big value packs or the cornflake value packs, and you get them for like a fiver, but they're massive. So your cereal out here could be €5, but it's the diddy little ones. It's like, or not the kids ones, but the small ones. So cereal out here is crazy expensive by comparison. There's not many Greek brands that I've seen where you go, oh, actually, it's reasonably priced again, because most of it's international. It seems like the Greeks don't eat a lot of cereal for breakfast. And so there's not a huge amount of local selection. So you end up buying international and it's really expensive. Anyway, just putting that out there. Let's go back to the list. Greeting card. Well, ignore that. That was on the receipt and greeting card too. You fancy a standard greeting card? 139. Yeah, definitely get card one. Don't get card two. It's more expensive. This is top tier advice tonight, isn't it? Marrow's zucchini green per kilo. I don't even know what that is. Do we eat that? What the hell's a zucchini? Well, anyway, it's cheaper. It's cheaper than Tesco. There you go. If you want to come to Cyprus and eat sushi, is am I saying that right? Zucchini. What is it? I've got to Google this. I actually don't know what it is. Reject your cookies. Oh, a cucumber. Is it? A courgette. That's a courgette. Okay, why did it say courgette then? Confusing the hell out of me for no reason. Right. Courgettes, 185 versus €2.05 in Tesco. Milk, we've gone through milk, but you can see it there. Olives. Now, not surprisingly, olives are cheaper than Tesco because we're basically in the land of olives. We live where the trees are. We've got olive trees all around our house. you're in the land of olives. Olives are naturally going to be cheaper. Olive oil is cheaper. It's anything olive related seems to be cheaper on the island, but rightly so because it's grown here. Onions, they seem to be cheaper as well, not by much, but they seem to be cheaper than Tesco. Again, all these blanks are where we couldn't get them on the day, which is just ridiculous, And I know there's going to be people still there, and I'm not just keep saying this. There's going to be people going, Mark, you can get onions in Philippos. What are you talking about? Well, we couldn't on that day. Spring onions, 50 cents, 45 cents in Sklavenitis, and 79 cents in Tesco. Parsnips, 3.99. 3.99 for parsnips versus 1.48. So again, for anybody that eats that type of thing, you can go and validate this yourself, but this was on our receipt. It was a receipted price, and that's the web price for Tesco. Pasta we did, spaghetti we did. Peppers, coloured peppers, 4.75 per kilo is what we paid on the receipt versus 2.85, right? Plastic carrier bags. Oh, we get plastic bags cheaper than you guys. No. What a child. Lidl does cheaper bags. So there you go. Potatoes. Now, they're cheaper in the UK, but they are way, way better in Cyprus. Let me go to this. Let's go to the map. I want to show you something because give you a little bit of trivia. Right. This side of the island, if I go to the layers, you'll see here you've got the Troodos mountain range here and Paphos forest and everything else. You've got the mountains along the top. And for all intents and purposes, here, like all where on the west coast and the west side of the island where we live, it's all quite hilly and rocky. When you go over to Larnaca, it's flat as a bean. You can walk around, ride your bikes, and it's all flat. It's lovely. But you can kind of see almost like the redness in the soil. Now, I can't remember if it's copper or iron. It's one of the two. But anyway, when you're driving around, I feel like I'm just going to chuck the street view man down and see if we can see this. Oh, that doesn't help me, does it? That doesn't help me make more. Oh, there we go. It does. It does help me. Right. So you see the soil is kind of red. So when the Cypriots are growing potatoes, it gets grown in this red soil. It makes like these red potatoes. And anyway, the Cypriot potatoes, the chips and everything else, they're amazing. And it's one of the things I miss when I leave Cyprus and come back to the UK. I just find that chips in restaurants in the UK, they're super bland. Is the only way I can describe it. I mean, if you go to most pubs, it's all frozen rubbish anyway. You go to these pubs and you get the buy one get one free, and it's all pre-packaged frozen stuff because they're doing it all in bulk. Whereas out here, everything's kind of hand cut chips. So, the potatoes on the island, yes, they're more expensive, but they are. Oh, that doesn't help me. They are more expensive, not by much, but they're better. Sorry, Mike. Let me bring that back up. iPad's lost connection. There we go. Change this right now. Give me 1 second and let's go back to this. Okay, so raisins. Oh no, wait a second. Protein crunch. Here we go. That's what I was saying about cereal. So this is Weetabix Crunch. It's got the word protein in it, so it makes me feel healthy, even though it's chocolate cereal with a bit of protein powder on top. 4.89 in Philippos, paid on the receipt. 4.49 in, what was that one? Come on, Mark. There's only 4 supermarkets. You can remember this. Alphamega? Yeah, Alphamega. Right. Let's come back. So 4.49 Alphamega, 4.50 in Sklavenitis, and the same one is €4 in the UK. So not that much difference on that. But if you were to buy Weetabix, for example, Weetabix is one where you can only get. Well, what brand is Weetabix? Is Weetabix, isn't it? Who makes Weetabix? Anyway, if you buy Weetabix made by, I think, Weetabix, that's really expensive out here compared to the UK, where you can get Weetabix not made by Weetabix. You can get Weetabix made by Tesco or whatever. And you go to Lidl or Aldi or whatever, and it's all super cheap. But out here, not so much, because when you're buying Weetabix, for some reason, because it's the international one, more expensive, and you don't get the value packs because you can only buy them in sort of 24 packs, as opposed to buying them in like the 72 packs you can get in the UK. So per little Weetabix, it's even more expensive, Raisins. €7 for raisins. Didn't know they were that much. €7, 6.95. Makes me feel better. 4.56 in the UK. That's for a kilo. Rice, we did rice, but again, you can see here, still substantially cheaper in the UK. Oh, by the way, I should have said this right near the start. I'm not very good at this, am I? This is all color coordinated. So the green is the cheapest in the line, not including Tesco, and the red is the most expensive in the line. But you wish you knew that 10 minutes ago. Salad, beetroots per kilo, €5 versus 182. €5 for beetroot is what we paid versus 182 in Tesco. And then tea bags. Oh, we've got a lot of tea bags right now. We kept buying boxes of 40 just for the purpose of this. And they were PG tips, I think. Are they PG tips? Yeah, they are PG tips. So for the record, PG tips are the only tea bags you should buy. I know people talk about Yorkshire tea. I know people talk about other ones, Tetley and all the rest of it. Just buy PG tips. It's fine. And if you think there's a better tea, you can put it in the comments. We can argue about it. But PG tips is where it's at. 199, 195, 175, 194 in the UK. So it's about a similar price, actually. In fact, wow, we've got it cheaper in Sklavenitis for 40 tea bags than it is in the UK. Cool. Tuna, as you can see, it's vastly more expensive out here than the UK, unless you go to Lidl. We've already talked about that one. Weetabix minis. So the minis aren't too dissimilar by the looks of it. 4.99 versus 4.33 in euros. Yogurt fruit, we did yogurt fruit strained pack 1 and pack 2. What's pack 1? Oh, because okay, right. Pack 1 and pack 2 is basically 2 packs of the same thing, like 2-pack. No, anyway, that's the list. That is all of them. And so what you'll see here, I know this isn't a like for like comparison because we couldn't get everything in every shop, but when we tried to get the same things in every shop, you go to, here, Alphamega, €53, 112, 47, 31. That was just what we could buy in the day. That doesn't mean anything, right? But if you were to look at the top, let's just go back to the top again. For those of you that have joined partway through, you go to the summary. For us, Sklavenitis was the most expensive. Now, I expected that to be the cheapest because Lidl, if I listen to people on the island, my iPad's lost the thing again. I'm trying to bring me back. 1 second. Why is it doing that tonight? There we go. Bring me back. If you listen to people on the island, if you listen to people in Facebook groups, what I was told when we came out here was that Lidl are trying to be more at market and they're more expensive. Are they? Because in my experience, they're the cheapest. So there you go. Don't listen to everything you hear on the internet. You probably shouldn't listen to me, but I bought it. I've got the receipts. Got my little receipts right here, the little blue ones. They're the little ones. Again, I didn't buy it. My wife bought it. So anyway, that is the comparison. And again, for those of you that have joined in, where we've got them listed in this table, there where we could buy them across all of the shops. So it gives us a fair summary up here. So it gives you kind of the most reliable summary without taking into account the things we couldn't buy. But I wanted to walk you through the list so you could see the prices across the board. What I would say is if there's any products on here that you'd have liked included, if there's anything that you think, oh, Mark, you should check this, like fillet steak or whatever, put it in the comments and I'll probably do another one of these. Maybe I'll do one later in the year. Maybe I'll do one, different foods, whatever. Can do the barbecue. We'll do a barbecue one for barbecue season. Actually, on that note, burgers out here seem to be quite expensive compared to the same in the UK. You buy a burger out here, you can get like 2 Agnes burgers and they're like €8 or something. And that's whether you go to Lidl, if you go to the supermarkets, you go to Philippos or wherever, you go to the butchers, they're expensive. I don't know. I don't remember burgers being that expensive. The only thing I will say though is that the quality of them does seem to be much better than you have in the UK. So again, it's probably one of them where food's more expensive, and you find this with restaurants. Food is quite often more expensive because you don't get the family deals. But then once you've actually got the food, you look at the quality of the food, but then you look at the quantity of the food, you go, bloody hell, that's really cheap for what you get it, So it's just one of those things, isn't it? But yeah, look, so let me know in the comments if you want something different, check in. We can check the prices. We can do another one of these videos. If you found it useful, if you found it interesting, we can do some more. The other thing is if you want a copy of this report, I will put a link in the chat. If you want to see it and you want to be able to just flick through it yourself, I can put a link to it in the chat. But the thing is, what I'm going to do is before everybody runs off and downloads it, I do want to be completely transparent here, because Cyprus Unfiltered, I don't want this to become a pitch fest, right? I'm not going to be sitting here trying to sell you stuff. I'm not going to be saying buy my services or anything like that. I'm just going to talk to you guys. And so I don't want every video ending with buy this, sign up for that, but whatever, here's my latest offer. That's not what this is about. Like I say, for me, it started as a passion project. It was just something to get me out of my own head. And so, making money is not the reason why I started this channel. However, outside of Cyprus Unfiltered, I do have business interests. I've got property projects on the go. I've got other things that I'm doing, right? And so at some point in the future, I might actually launch a service or a product or a community where we can actually do some stuff, or maybe even a consultancy. I don't know. Maybe I'll do something with relocations. I don't know, right? I might do nothing at all. But the honest answer is I don't know yet. I don't know what I'll do. I don't know if I'm going to do anything with it. I don't know. I work in IT and I work in property. I don't work on the internet. I'm not paid for any of this. And, I'll probably get monetized at some point on YouTube, but it's going to be pennies on the pound, right? I haven't got a big following. It's going to be pennies on the pound. So it's not why I'm doing this at all. But basically what I'm saying is I'd rather be transparent now, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link in the chat and it's going to ask you for your email address, right? And this is a long-winded way of me saying, you put your email address in there, you're going to go onto a list and I might never do anything with it. On the other hand, you might hear some stuff from me. I don't know. Like I say, I don't know what I'm going to do. But the point is, you'll be able to download the report. Any future updates that I do, I will be able to email them out to you. So if we do any more of these in the future, I can just go, cool, here's the link to that report and you can just have it. You can, like any other useful information. I'm not going to spam the crap out of you. You don't even have to download it. And if you do download it, you don't even have to say subscribe. You can just unsubscribe. Okay. So I'm going to put it in the chat. But like I said, I just wanted to be totally transparent. I wanted to be open because, it is not necessarily what everybody wants in that sense. So it's in there. It doesn't cost you anything, by the way. You can just, like I say, put your details in and it's there. You're going to get the link to that. You'll literally be able to go in here. You can play with it. You can flick through all of this. You're going to get the link to this and it's just going to be able to go in and you can change all the exchange rates as and when it changes. And like I say, any other ones that I do in the future, I'm just going to send it through to you anyway. So that's that. Right. I am going to leave it there, but I do just want to summarize with one last thing. Coming back to the beginning, when people are talking about prices of shops and cost of living and everything else, as you can see tonight, it's quite varied. And so there is no one shop that is cheaper for any one thing. It varies across the board, and which is why, depending on what you eat, your results, your prices, everything else might be different to what I eat. Yeah. So you might find that for whatever reason, Philippos is the cheapest, or you might find Alphamega is the cheapest for the stuff that you buy. I've tried to keep this as kind of generic as possible for groceries that people might buy, milk, bread, that kind of thing. So hopefully that's been useful. I'm going to go now to, before we go to the questions, I'm just going to go to this. We will go to questions in just a second. But I will just say, look, when I moved to Cyprus, you've all heard this before, but for those of you that haven't, when I moved to Cyprus, there was nobody really showing this type of content. There was nobody showing what life was really like. So I'm trying to document it now for the rest of us. But my only ask is, if you're finding it useful, if you think somebody else would find it useful, then I'm trying to help as many people as possible with it. So just give it a share, share it in Facebook groups or whatever. If you think somebody would like it, WhatsApp it to them. I don't know, just if you can share it, I'd appreciate it massively, because like I said, the more people can help, the better. And I just think that's going to be a cool thing. And the other thing that I'm trying to do with this channel is the community meetups, right? So yesterday, for those of you who don't know, we had our first community meetup where we had Cyprus Unfiltered followers just link up. There was no agenda. It's just like-minded people meeting people quite often for the first time. There's people in the comments that were meeting each other. People that are online tonight, because I'm seeing some names. I won't go to the comments yet, but people are online tonight. You got to meet each other for the first time yesterday. Some of you got to meet me for the first time. It was just a bit of fun, right? So we're going to do this every Saturday. No, not. We're going to do the first Saturday of every month. Kind of every Saturday. We'll do the first Saturday of every month, right? But I do just want to say a huge thank you to everybody that attended yesterday, because honestly, I didn't have any idea whether anybody would turn up. It could have just been like me, my wife, and my boy, right? I could have been sitting there on my own with a coffee, just going, this is nice. And if that was the case, I'd have gone there and I'd gone, yeah. I'd have said to the staff, there's probably going to be like 15 of us, and it'd just been me. And it'd be like, yeah, you loser. Anyway, so I appreciate you turning up. Thankfully, you actually did turn up, and it was great. It was really good putting faces to names. So that was awesome. And look, I just want to say special thanks to my wife, Asha, and my boy, Jacob, because they literally support me in everything I do. It doesn't seem to matter what it is, I've got their full support. And so that's awesome. And, they're supportive of everything, supportive of what I'm doing in the channel, supportive of what I do with the meetups. But also, I want to just say, look, a huge thank you to you guys, because let's be honest, I'm doing this for you guys as a way of meeting each other in a way you can make you like-minded friends. There's going to be people watching this that haven't moved out to Cyprus yet, and they're maybe a bit nervous. How do you make new friends when you come to the island? Well, you can come to a Cyprus Unfiltered meetup and you can meet people here. Like I say, it's just people coming, having their own drinks. I didn't make any money from it. It was like everybody pays their own way. So you just literally pay for what you eat, pay for what you drink, and that's it. And so Alex, Emma, you guys, thank you for coming. Phil, Chet, Espen, thank you guys for coming. Espen, thanks for playing with Jacob because he was entertained all afternoon, which was great. Lee Louise, appreciate you guys coming. Stephen Stephen Donna, thank you very much. It was awesome to meet you guys as well. And Tony and Lorna, really good to meet you guys too. I know there's some other people that tried to come down, couldn't make it for various things. That's fine. You know what I mean? People have got lives. But if you can make it next time, we're going to do the first Saturday of the month. So anybody's welcome. If you're watching this, you're thinking, I'm in Paphos, you're going to be more than welcome to come down. Please just come down, meet other people. It'd be awesome. You're going to have great conversations, great people. And look, if I don't see you again beforehand, then hopefully people that came yesterday, I'm going to see you in a month and maybe see some new faces too. All of that said, let's go to the live Q&A because we've got a lot of people on the chat tonight, it seems like. So let's go to that. And we're going to see what questions you guys have got and we can answer them for you. RC Cosplay, Smart will beat most others in price. For the same item, there's a good chance it'll be less costly in Smart. I also want to mention a chain called Mass. Many brand names, fair prices. Yeah, so I'm aware of Mass. I'm not aware of Smart, I've got to be honest. What is Smart? Let's go here. Smart. Paphos. Smart discount shop. What is it? Oh, I think I remember this. I think I know what you mean. Oh yeah, okay. Is this a chain? Is this a chain or is it a one-off? Don't know if it's a one-off or it's a chain or what. Is it? Well, it says shops. Clue is in the name. There's more than one. Okay. All right. Maybe I'll check that out. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Top tip. Philip Shaw. Good evening, Mark. Evening, Philip. Good to have you on. Juliet Wanet. Juliet Wanet. I like that. Good evening and hello. Hello to you too. Railway History UK, Stephen, hi Mark. Looking forward to your analysis as this time next week we will need to be working our way around one of the for a big shop. Yeah. Apologies, didn't really draw you a conclusion. Go to Lidl, that's probably going to be cheapest if you can get what you want. Let's be honest, you're probably going to be end up going to multiple shops to get what you want. That's kind of the way it is out here. But hopefully it's been helpful anyway. Like I say, if you want to download the report, you're more than welcome to. You can have a look and you can pick through yourself. So, but yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Philip, hi Mark from a wet Wales. It was 30 degrees there, wasn't it? A week ago. It's 30. I remember it being warmer in the UK than it was in Cyprus because I was on video calls through work and people were going, "Oh, it's warmer here than it is in Cyprus." Like, yeah, give it a week, but it's actually raining there now. From what I'm hearing and from what you're saying. Chris Glendening. I'm butchering your name there. I'm going to call you Chris. Hi to you in Paphos. Looking forward to this. Cool. I'm pleased. I'm assuming you meant this tonight. Hopefully it didn't disappoint. Lee, evening Mark, evening Lee, evening Kelly, if you're watching. Alex, evening all. Evening Alex, evening Emma, if you're watching. Good to have you on. Asha, Joanna, you're welcome. Haha. Anyone fancy 100 tea bags of PG tips? Yes, me. Got tea for the year now. Joanna Town and my wife. Spaghetti was all mid-sides. Oh, thanks for that, actually. Yeah, you did tell me that, and I said I'd forget, and I said put it in the chat. So that is a brand, mid-sides, penne, mid-sides, apart from Lidl, because you can only get the Lidl brand. That's probably why it was cheaper. Well, it will definitely be why it's cheaper. Asha, tuna either in brine or water. In oil is cheaper. Okay, thank you. But we bought the same ones. We bought the same ones across the board. They've only started doing tuna in brine recently. And actually, speaking of tuna, one thing I did find out here, I remember the first time I had a jacket potato on the island, and I had a jacket potato tuna mayo. It's what I used to eat in the UK. And I like tuna mayo. I like tuna mayo jacket potatoes and everything else. Out here, I didn't, because the tuna in the restaurant tasted like fish. Ridiculous, I know, right? What I've learned about myself is that I like tuna to taste like brine. And the tuna out here wasn't in brine, and it just tasted like fish. And I don't like fish, but I like tuna, just not tuna nuts in brine. So anyway, there you go. Little story for you there. Uh, Philip Shaw, hi Mark. And I think chicken and pork price is set by the Cyprus government. Is it really? Wow. I didn't know that. Even I'm learning tonight. That would make sense. When you look at this, you go to chicken, that would absolutely make sense. But it also seems to be the same price in Tesco as well. That's interesting. Didn't know that. Thanks very much. Philip Rowlands, how much is a 500 ml bottle of extra virgin olive oil? Oh, you have to ask me for something on the list, right? Let's go to Alphamega. Oh, you can test my Greek now. I mean, like, you could do this yourself, but it's fine. I will do it because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to Google for you. Only because I'm interested as well. Olive oil. You were very specific on 500 ml. What we've got? There you go. Extra virgin olive oil with 60. I don't know, it's a mix. Okay. So these are all 1 liters. Anything 750. I mean, some of this stuff you can actually buy it like bloody wine. If you go to the olive, it's like an olive sanctuary. I don't know why, but it's like you can go to this olive place, you buy bottles of it, and they will even serve you halloumi cheese, not grilled halloumi, halloumi. And the only way I can describe it, if you like grilled halloumi, which I do, if somebody offers you halloumi, walk away. If it's not grilled, it tastes like you're chewing on the goat itself. It's horrible, 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 horrible. Anyway, it depends by the looks of it. It depends on the brand and everything else. So that's not really helpful for you. But yeah, there's loads of them. But if you go to, in fact, I can put this in the chat. There you go. I'll put this in the chat for you as well. You can have a look at Alphamega and anything else you want to look at. There you go. That's in there now. For those of you watching on your TV at home, you're like, oh, missing out on the chat. Well, apologies, but it'll be in the chat. You can actually watch the chat back on the live recording. Once this has gone live, the chat is there. You can refer back to it later on. Right. Alex Glass, love chocolate raisins. Yes. Knew there'd be another one. Evan just picked up from Waitrose ones in Little Phil's for me. They're awesome. Lidl do them, but they are more expensive. Although Asha bought some, I don't know, a few days ago. She says they weren't the normal price. They were cheaper, but I don't know how much. But yeah, they're amazing. I remember, in fact, Alex, do you remember this? In the UK, you used to be able to buy, you went into the old sweet shops where you could buy proper tubs. Like you'd get like maybe a kilo of chocolate raisins. It used to be about £11. It was great. Can't get them anymore. At least you can. It will be £11. Philip Shaw, Lay's is an American brand of potato chips. Well, for those of you that are interested, so Lay's, right? This will be the American brand, as it were. So as you can see, exactly the same as Walker's, same flavors and everything. So yeah, I don't know which is which. I don't know if Lay's is I don't know if Walker's is American. I don't know if Lay's is the foreign variant. But anyway, you don't get Walker's on the island. You get Lay's. Same as in Poland and other EU countries as well. So Asha, with Lidl, I forgot to buy eggs, to be honest. What? Just there's me giving you all the praise. Didn't tell me that when I was going through the receipts, did you? God, if you want something done, do it yourself, yeah. Right. Oh, Sean, things like crisps, biscuits, chocolates, and other rubbish are very expensive in Cyprus. They are not in huge demand, although demand is increasing with the kids of today. Shop local and in season. Is there a season for crisps? Maybe I'm being flippant there, but is there a season for crisps? I just in biscuits, it's just like it's like sugar and carbs, and I didn't know that there was a season for them. But yeah, I mean, basically anything imported is expensive, but not just chocolate. Sorry, not just chocolate and biscuits and crisps and everything from abroad. Like if you want to buy Cadbury's chocolate out here, Cadbury's chocolate is quite expensive unless you go to Philippos, because they quite often have these baskets where you can get Whispers for like 50 euro cents. It's actually way cheaper than the UK, but only certain things you'll get like whole nut. But then if you want the one without the nuts, that'll be like 3 or 4 euros. So you can get them really cheap at times. But for some reason, Greek chocolate, and there's a really nice one on the island, which I can't pronounce, don't know how to spell it, so I can't show you. It's a bit of a rubbish example, but it's my favorite chocolate on the island because it's this huge, thick block of chocolate. It's like Yorkies used to be. When it used to say, when a Yorkie used to say, not for girls, because it was a man's chocolate, it was big, thick, chunky, and then obviously you can't say that anymore because people get offended by everything. So you have to have a Yorkie that is for girls, and then it's a lot thinner and it's a bit rubbish now compared to what it used to be. Well, there is a Greek chocolate bar, which is like you could break your tooth on the chocolate. It's that thick. And it's really good. But you're paying like 3.50, €4 for a chocolate bar. Like, don't want to pay €4 for a chocolate bar. I'm used to like getting the Galaxy. You get a salted caramel Galaxy. It used to be like £1. I don't want to pay €4 for a chocolate. But anyway, there we go. But you can get it in the sale sometimes. And there, Betty's. Right, I'm going to zoom in for this. Hang on a minute. There, the real Betty Swallocks. I finally caught a live stream. Evening, the real Betty Swallocks. Am I pronouncing that right? Hope so. Good to have you on. If you're a first-time viewer, good to have you on. Thanks for joining. Philip Rallens, my wife works in Tesco. Customers always complain to her about how expensive food shopping is. She tells them, sorry, I'm just working here. I don't own the company. That's nuts. It's a bit like, I don't know, you go to buy anything. It's like walking into, I don't know, a BMW dealership and complaining that the cars are too expensive. Well, go somewhere else then. Go to Aldi if you don't like Tesco. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with Aldi food. Yeah, okay. I can see why she'd get frustrated. I would. I am just looking. I'm sorry, Jackie. Ash is right. Lorna was supposed to come. I'm really sorry. Jackie Mazer. I've butchered your name. Oh no, I got my list wrong. So Jackie and Tony were here yesterday. Lorna and Donald, I think you said Donald, was supposed to come. They couldn't come because they had a power cut. But anyway, Jackie, yes, thank you for coming. I'm rubbish now, aren't I? I've been shown up by my wife. But anyway, yes, Jackie, lovely to meet you. Hopefully Savas will look after you as well. I'm sure he will. Thanks, Asha. Alex, we were just saying today that one of the concerns moving out was whether we'd be able to meet people and make friends. Turns out if you make the effort, it's really easy. Yeah, you know what, Alex, you're right. And I think this is where people will come abroad and you kind of need to be a little bit extroverted in that if you just come here and you stay in your house or you stay in your apartment or you stay in your villa or whatever, you're never going to meet anybody. And what I always recommend to people is find something you enjoy and go and do that thing, and you'll probably meet people doing it. Like I used to be interested in photography quite a lot. I don't have time anymore, but there was a Paphos photography club that I wanted to join. I'm still really interested in clay pigeon shooting. I enjoy that. And unfortunately, there's a bit of a trek for me. I only get kind of one day a week where I can really do some stuff on a Saturday because the rest of the time I'm working and shops and things are closed on Sunday. But I used to go clay pigeon shooting on a Saturday, but it was over at Akrotiri Army Base. But I used to enjoy that. It was good. So find something that you're interested in and you'll meet people doing it. That's probably the best advice I can give. If you like walking, join a walking group. If you like running, join a running group. And, if people are worried about meeting people, if you find the thing that you're interested in, like people will say, oh, no, but I'm introverted. I don't want to talk to people, or I don't like making new friends, or I find it really difficult to talk. I would call you out on your BS. And the reason why I would call you out on your BS is because everybody is introverted and everybody is extroverted. And you're sitting there going, what are you on about, Mark? Well, let me tell you, I am introverted. And you're going to sit there and go, hang on a minute, Mark, you're talking live on YouTube. You're not introverted at all. No, I am introverted in subjects I know nothing about. I'm not going to sit in a room full of people talking about sewing or, whatever, knitting. I know nothing about it. I'm not going to talk about art. So I don't know a huge amount about art. I've got an opinion on art, especially modern art. A lot of rubbish that is. But the point is, I can't value art in the same way that somebody knows about art does. So I'm not going to sit and give loads of opinions on it. I'm not going to get involved in the conversation. So in those scenarios, I turn into an introvert. In this type of scenario, because I'm just talking about stuff that I've done, that I know about, my experiences, I could talk about that all night. I'm not introverted with that. I'm extroverted because I can just talk about it because I've done it. This is just real life for me. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm going to come abroad, but I'm not going to be able to make new friends, what do you like? And go and do that thing. And when you get there, you'll meet people. And because you're both doing the thing you like, you'll find that you click with people really easy. For me, I've come out to the island and, I like to think I'm an entrepreneur, but, up and coming, let's say, not there yet. But I came out here and I love meeting people and talking about business, talking about opportunities, talking about new ideas. I didn't really get that in the UK because most of my friends in the UK, unless I put myself into mastermind groups and coaching groups and things like that, which I did, but the people that I would interact with on a daily basis, like your friends, your circle of friends that you have now, they were all just doing the Monday to Friday 9 to 5 thing. And you don't really get to have that level of conversation. So as an example, today I went to the water park. My son went to the water park. We met up with some friends and we were sitting there talking about business, which sounds really sad on a Sunday afternoon in the water park. But we're sitting there talking about stuff, talking about ideas. And I love that. So in those scenarios, I become extroverted as well because I love talking about that stuff. So find your niche, find the thing that you want to do, whether it be, and I know a lot of people come out here to retire. That's fine. But whatever it is that you like doing, just go and find the club that does it and you'll meet new people. You'll make new friends. Lost my train of thought on these. Martin. Hey, good to have you on, Martin. Thanks for seeing you. Well, thanks for seeing you. Can't even speak properly, can I? But anyway, thanks for joining, Martin. Hi, Sandra, if you're watching. Good evening, Mark. Can't wait to be living there to experience this for ourselves. Still no news on selling our house, which is disappointing in this slow housing market in the UK. That is a shame. Yeah, I mean, that sucks. If you can't get out, I mean, we were very fortunate in that we didn't need to sell our house. Our house still sat empty for like a year before it was sold. It was on the market for a year, but luckily we didn't need to sell it to be able to move out. So I do feel for you being stuck in that situation. But on the flip side, this is partly why I do recommend renting when people come out here. People quite often will just buy and come out here. So in fact, talking to Jackie and Tony yesterday, got the name right this time, talking to Jackie and Tony yesterday, and they bought and they literally just moved out here and bought. And it's quite a ballsy thing to do because actually you might not like the area that you bought your house in, but not only that, you might be here for a year and you might decide it's not for you. And then think of it this way, Martin, you could buy something here and then you're stuck here trying to sell it before you go home. Whereas you can rent here for a year, decide whether or not it's really for you, because, let's be honest, you've got to do all the seasons really to kind of figure it out. And you want that honeymoon period to wear off to figure out if it is for you. And then you can decide if you're going to buy or build or whatever you fancy doing. But yeah, I mean, certainly do you think the situation that you're in now, not just you, Martin, but anybody watching this, if you're needing to sell a property before coming out, don't rush and buy a property out here, because then if you needed to go back to the UK, you're going to have to sell the property to go back to the UK. So at least if you rent, it keeps you flexible, it keeps you mobile. You can just go when you need to go. Lee, Greg sausage rolls, buddy. Yeah, right. Right, Lee, you'll love this. You can get Greg's sausage rolls now in Philippos. For those of you that like Greg's sausage rolls, I do. You can get them in Philippos, frozen. for about €8 for four. Oh, I like them. €8. I mean, oh, I don't know. That's a bit of a steep one for me. Although that said, I was in the UK recently, and I swear, well, I swear a lot, just not on here, but I do swear. No, I reckon. No, I seem to recall Greg's sausage rolls. You used to be able to buy four for about £2. Is that right? You could buy four for £2 in the UK. Last time I was there, it doubled in price. So I get why people back home are saying it's more expensive in the UK. It is, but it's still cheaper than here. So stop whining. Don't stop whining because I get it. It's actually expensive. Ah, Philip, I have to pay £24 for a 500 ml bottle of extra virgin olive oil on Amazon. Oh, all right. Okay. Well, then it is definitely cheaper here. Even the expensive ones. Told you, it's the land of olives. There you go. Want to bring it back up. €15. So what's that? About £13. You can have whatever pumice olive oil is. You get a litre of it for four. In fact, olive oil is that available on the island. So our first landlord, and the second one said they were going to, but they haven't done yet. But the first landlord, every year, they used to turn up and he would give us like a bunch of bananas. Now, I'm not talking about a bunch of bananas that you get from Tesco or wherever. I'm talking about, I'm going to step back for this, like a massive, what you see the banana trees, it was like somebody just got chopped it off and there'd be about 30 bananas, maybe more, on this bunch of bananas that he would give us. And at the same time, he would give us avocados that were all freshly grown here. But then also, it was like about a litre, maybe 2 litres of olive oil in this big tub. It was like they'd made it and they'd poured it in. It was like, there you go. And so we have tubs of olive oil that we use for cooking, but it lasts all year because we just get so much of it. We have so much of it given to us. So yeah, anyway, little olive oil story there. But can't even speak. A little olive oil story there. Uh, Alex, Lays and Walkers owned by PepsiCo these days. Is it really? I didn't know that. Okay. When you say these days, who did they used to be owned by? I mean, I know I could Google this myself, but in the spirit of keeping it interactive, the chocolate is Ion. Oh, it is Ion. Right, hang on a minute. Let's pull this up for anybody that's interested. Ion. Oh yeah, she's right. But it's not. So what you don't want these ones because they're thin. They're like a Dairy Milk or something or a Galaxy. What you want is these ones. Look at that, €4. Told you. You want this. This is where it's at. You break your teeth on these, but it's amazing. It's not as sweet as a Cadbury's Dairy Milk or something like that. So if you ask me, do I prefer Greek chocolate or English chocolate? I still prefer English chocolate. But if there was no other chocolate on the island, then this is definitely my favorite chocolate. If I can get Cadbury's, that's still my favorite. I like Galaxy. That's probably my second favorite. This is a third favorite. I love this chocolate. It's really nice, but it's just so big. It's so big and chunky. Who doesn't love chunky chocolate? Adam, hi Mark. Is it better and cheaper to buy local produce from local vendors as opposed to using supermarkets? Thinking more in terms of fruit, veg, fish, and seafood. Yes, it is. Let me give you an example. So let's go over to the maps. Oh yeah, potatoes. Right, let's go away. So let's go to Coral Bay. You have Philippos. This isn't sponsored by Philippos, by the way. I've lost it. They're gone. Why can't I see them? Karting, yeah. Where's Philippos? It's right there somewhere. It's here, but why is it not showing up? Zoom in some more. Phil's Grill and Bar. So it's literally here. Why are you not showing me? Get rid of that. That's swimwear. Anyway, Philippos is here, and that's now it pops up. Right. This is Philippos. I can show you the street view. That's Philippos, and they've got a DIY store. They've got Phil's Grill. There's a home store behind it. So there's your supermarket. Now, if you go down this road towards Coral Bay, you can find which one is it? I think it's this one. Yeah, little street stalls like this. and you can buy fresh fruit and veg from the street stalls, and it will be cheaper than the supermarkets because you're getting it direct to vendor, and they will be probably fresher as well because they're not being transported to the supermarkets and everything else. You get quite a lot of them like this, and the fruit is absolutely fine. There's one that is a 2 or 3 minute walk from my house. I won't show it you because that would be silly, and you'll all know where I live. But there's one 2 or 3 minutes walk from where we are, and basically they sell to the supermarkets, but for one day a week they open to the general public, and they just sell it at the side of the road, basically, But for one day a week they sell it to the public, and the rest of the time it's in supermarkets. If you come down Potima Road, so this is where the new marina is going to be if ever they build it. And stick the little guy there. There is a strawberry place somewhere down here. This is like a really crap version of that Paphos Life channel, isn't it? Because you're watching me go down Street View. In fact, this is probably his car. Does it say Paphos Live? Normally does. Oh, no, it's not saying it. Anyway, this is like the poor man's version of that. You're just watching me do this. Come on. Come on. Okay, you just have to trust me because I don't want to waste everybody's time. But down here, there is. No, but now I want to find it. Now I do want to waste your time because I want to find it. There he is. It's coming up. It's coming up. No, it's a car. Oh, what? Hang on a minute. There is. No, I've got to find it. I've got to prove it to myself. There's all of you watching intently. Like, is he going to find it? What's he looking for even? Why am I watching this on a Sunday night? Watching some guy on the internet scroll. Oh, no, it's not there. I now look like a liar. Oh, there is right. Okay. There is definitely one there. Anyway, he sells strawberries. Let's go to somewhere here. Somewhere down here. There is a stall. Maybe it's further down. Anyway, you have to trust me on it. There is a stall that sells strawberries and other fruit and veg and stuff like that. The point is, you will see vendors down the side of the road, and more often than not, it's cheaper than a supermarket. Plus, you also get to support them directly, which is also nice. Because even if they're a bit more expensive for whatever reason, it's nice to support the locals, right? Rather than paying all the big chains of supermarkets, you can support the locals directly. You will see watermelons at the side of the road. In fact, actually, let's just come back to this. I know I've said this before in other videos, but if you go, I can't even spell melon. Oh my God. Watermelon, one word. Just show myself up on YouTube. Why not? Cyprus watermelon. There you go. You see these parked up at the side of the road, just like pickup trucks with watermelon stacked, and you could just go and buy watermelon out of a van, because that's what happens out here. Because watermelons are so plentiful. Watermelons this time of year. I mean, we've got a massive slab like this in the fridge, and it's about €2.85 or something like that. It's massive. And the Cypriot watermelons are massive, for those of you that have ever wondered. And I know I've shown this on another video, but you might not have seen that. So if I show you a Cypriot watermelon, the sizes. So in the UK, you'll get a watermelon kind of like that, right? But in Cyprus, you get these. Nearly swore. Right. Come on. I'm on Instagram. No, you get these massive things. I just want to see a picture of a watermelon. Oh, what? What a tease. Anyway, they're massive. Look at the size of that. See, they're absolutely massive out here. Like they are just. I've never seen watermelons like it. And the thing is, when you buy them, they don't even fit in the fridge. That's how big they can get. So some of them are absolutely massive. You see a bit of it there. Anyway, stop talking about the size of watermelons. Philip, how much is a large bottle of Keo out there now? It's been years since I was out there, 2010. A large bottle of Keo? I don't know. What I do know is that Keo itself is very cheap because it's brewed on the island. And you've got the factories out here and everything else. So it's brewed on the island. It's a cheap local beer. When you go to a pub, pints of beer are way cheaper than England. Way cheaper. And you're talking like maybe €3 or €4 for a pint. So I don't know what a pint is in the UK these days. Last I heard, people were telling me it was like maybe £7 for a pint, depending on where you go. So beer on the island is cheap, and I don't know about the big bottles in particular. I can't even tell you a 4-pack of beer because I barely drink. I barely or rarely drink beer. Occasionally I'll drink. Had a beer yesterday because I had a barbecue, but otherwise I don't really drink beer. To be honest, I don't really drink alcohol anymore. But I did take note of the beer prices last time. Me and my boy were at an ice cream van, and we were down near, where was it? Like St George's Bay, I think it was. There was an ice cream van there. You buy Mr. Whippy ice cream. The Mr. Whippy ice cream was about €5 or something, and you could buy a can of beer off him or a bottle of beer, and that was like €3 or €3.50. The beer was cheaper than the ice cream, so yeah, it's cheap anyway. Don't know how cheap, but it's cheap. Asha, you can buy homemade olive oil from local farmers. So good. That 2.3 litre bottle or 2 or 3 litre bottles. Either way, yeah, you can, because the thing is, you've got olive trees all over the place, and oil is cheap by comparison. You go to these vineyard, not vineyard. What's a vineyard for olives? I don't know, an ollyard. Don't know, making it up now. But anyway, you can go to those places and you can buy it. And again, it's great to buy it straight from the producers. Are I've got to zoom in for this one. Hang on. Ardhuina one. That Ion chocolate is much better than Cadbury's. I don't like the ingredients in Cadbury's. Well, one thing I will say, Arduino one, is that since the Americans got hold of Cadbury's, it's gone downhill massively. Unfortunately, like, it doesn't taste like it used to. When Cadbury was a British company with the factory in Bourneville, and it was all like British made, my opinion, it used to be way better than it is now, and it's still, favorite chocolate. But I have a very sweet tooth. So what I find with the Greek chocolate, and I don't know if it's something to do with the temperature or the heat or anything, but the Greek chocolate I find, and actually not just Greek, but anywhere, anytime I go to a hot country, the chocolate never tastes as nice. If you go to Malaysia, the chocolate is just never the same somehow. So I guess it depends what you get used to, but I really like it. I'm not saying it's bad at all. Ion chocolate is lovely and I really like it. But if there was two bits in front of me, if I had to choose, I would probably choose Cadbury, just my opinion. But if I fancied a bit of a wrestle, I'd gnaw on this Ion chocolate because it's really good. So when I buy Ion chocolate, you have to buy the big thick pieces. You can't just buy the little ones. You have to buy the big thick ones, in my opinion. Good to have you on, though. I don't recognize that username, so good to have you on if you're a first time live chatter person. And how do I pronounce your name? That Ion chocolate is, oh no, I've just read that one. Welcome to 10 seconds ago. Is KFC still out there? Philip, yes, it is. And now I will show you, because there are a couple. And I'm sure you could put this into Google Maps, but I'm going to show you one in particular because for those of you that know Coral Bay, the main strip down here. So you come to Coral Bay, and I'm going to go partway down the hill towards that because that wasn't where I dropped it, because it can ruin the surprise now, isn't it? Anyway. Right. So a lot of you will know Coral Bay from this angle. You've got the restaurants down here, Blazing Saddles. You've got a Chinese place there, and this takes you like all the way down to the strip. So then when you come this way, there is an awesome little coffee shop, which I like. And we go here. We used to go here quite often. Second Cup. So Second Cup is the equivalent of, well, I say the equivalent. It is a chain on the island, but I always try and go to these ones as opposed to like the Costas or the Starbucks or anywhere else. I just like these. They do really good kind of granola for breakfast. The coffee's nice. The white hot chocolate. Oh, so good. White hot chocolate. If you like it, go to these and get a white hot chocolate. They're amazing. Anyway, why am I talking to you about coffee when you asked about KFC? Well, this building is KFC. It's not there on the map, but this building is now a KFC. It's the brand new one, and you can go to KFC in Coral Bay. There is also, if I go to Tala and then Masogi Road is here. Got to remember exactly where now. Where's the lay-by? There, you can even see it on the map. So that one was new maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago. and you've got this KFC here next to Pizza Hut. So you've got that one, and then you've got a KFC in the mall as well. You've got KFC in my mall in Limassol. Don't know why it took me so long to remember that name, but you've got KFC on the island. Yes, I could have just said that, but that's not as fun, is it? That's in May. Hi, Mark. Just logged on. Sorry, been out for Sunday lunch in a village pub after a long walk along the Grantham Canal and back on lovely English summer's day. No problem at all. Good to have you on, Keith. And hi, Sarah, if you're there as well, but good to have you both on. Hopefully the English no, what? English carvery was good. I know a place on the island for a good English carvery. If anybody needs to know, I can let you know because it's a really good place that we like. But yeah, good to have you back on, guys. Alex, Walkers were an independent Leicestershire company before being bought out. Okay, cool. Thanks, Alex. I didn't know that. I mean, it makes sense because the UK seemed to sell everything off, like saying about Cadbury's. They sold that to Kraft, I think it was. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. Do you know one? We bought a 5-litre bottle from a local farmer and it was only about €25. Far, far better than any supermarket brand. Awesome. So you're already here on the island. Cool. Whereabouts do you live? Assuming you live here and not just on holiday and buying 5 litres of olive oil for your holiday. Philip, I take a swig of olive oil every night before bed. Good for the health. Do you really? I'm trying to think. Are you pulling my chain here? Do you actually drink olive oil before bed? I've never heard of anybody doing that. Is it like a shot? Is it like a pint? Or is it... I'm intrigued anyway. Or you said a swig, so it's clearly not going to be a pint. Music for Life P20. Hi, Mark. And hi, Mihao Chesh. Good to have you on. Alex, message retracted. Philip, I drink a bottle of Newcastle Brown Ale here. Pay $1.75. Oh. Well, then by that response, it's not that much cheaper. But what I do know is when you go out and you're buying beer, you can see the international beers on a menu, and then you see Keo or Leon is the other one, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Keo and Leon, they're both on the island, they're both local, and they're always way cheaper than a international beer. So yeah, I guess if you're paying that from a supermarket for the Newcastle Brown, then probably not too dissimilar, but certainly when you're in restaurants and stuff, it's definitely cheaper to drink KO and stuff like that. Large KO in the supermarket is $1.60 from Alex. Yep. And Philip, yep. Cool. Alrighty. Okay, so I am going to go and just have a quick drink. So I'm going to go to my like and share screen. I'm going to wait for some more questions and comments to come through. If you've got any, you might not have any, and you might just decide you want to log off and go home, which is fine. You already are home, actually, thinking about it, so maybe you just want to log off. Anyway, I'm going to have a drink, and then I'm going to come back to this because, for a change, I've got some questions for you. So I'll be right with you. I'm just going to have a swig, not of olive oil. And what I will say, I say this all the time, is when I first moved to Cyprus, there was nobody really showing this side of life and what life was really like out here. And so I am just trying to document it now for the rest of us. If you're finding it useful, entertaining, or anything like that, then if you think somebody else could benefit from it, please give it a share. And if you aren't subscribed already, then that would be awesome too, because I'm nearly at the 1,000 subscriber mark, and it doesn't mean anything other than it's a vanity metric, and I want to hit 1,000 subscribers because I think that'd be really cool. It's a nice round number. And I'll be honest, when I first started this, and for the first 3 months I was just talking to my wife in the other bedroom, I'm quite blown away by how many people are actually, 1, tuning in on a Sunday night, 2, actually paying attention, and 3, like when people turned up to this meetup yesterday, blown away, absolutely blown away. So I appreciate all of you. So yeah, thanks very much for joining and stuff like that. And yeah, like I say, if you're not subscribed, please do. I try and do sporadic lives, but as people found out yesterday, it doesn't always work. So I tried to do a live from the Cyprus Unfiltered live event. And in fact, I feel like I need to show you this, or it might actually screw up my live stream now. Oh no, better not. It might kill the live stream. Don't want to do that. Anyway, I tried to go live off my phone, and we watched the countdown. So we'd got people sat around. We watched the countdown. The screen's black and white. It counts down, and then it goes on. And I talked, and I showed the room, the bar where we were. And the video lasted about 50 seconds. It wasn't very long. Just wanted to do a live from the live show, or from the live show, from the live, meetup. Hit save, did its thing. And today it is just literally sat there as you going live at, I think it was 1:57 yesterday or something like that. And it's like telling me it's scheduled and it won't post and I can't watch the video back. And it's a load of rubbish. But when the tech works, if you are subscribed, then you will get notified when I go live, which is cool. So yeah, subscribe is the moral of the story, please. Realize that sounds very desperate now. You don't have to subscribe. If that offends you, you can unsubscribe. That's fine. Right. So have we got any more questions coming through? No, we don't. That's cool, because I've got some questions for you guys. Well, some. I've got a couple. For people watching this live, I'm trying to learn as much as I can about this. I want to try and make it as good a viewing experience for you as possible, which is why I do the Q&A as well, to try and make these types of videos a bit different. I know that for a lot of people, if you're watching a recording, it's just you're watching a bit of content and then you may or may not listen to the Q&A at the end. But I know a lot of you guys now, because I see quite a few regulars on here, you'll stay on and you'll ask questions and you interact with each other, which I just think is awesome. I love the fact that you guys talk to each other as well as kind of interacting with me. But I guess what I want to know is, why do you watch? Because there's people that are on the island now. People that are on the island are still watching me. And I'm I want to work out how I can add the most amount of value to, you guys are giving me your time, which is a hugely valuable currency. How can I make it better for you? But I'm interested in why you currently watch. I appreciate some of you will be still in the UK and you're interested in Cyprus. And so you're doing exactly what I did, which is like 3 years ago, whatever. And you're just trying to watch people out on the island and you're trying to learn as much about it before you come. And we used to watch the Paphos Life videos and you just like, we'd have it on the background, the car would be driving around and be like, yeah, we'll be there one day. So we used to do that and that was super cool. But no, I'm just genuinely interested in what you get out of this. Like, why do you, I'm not looking for ego stroking, by the way, just let me make that clear. I'm not looking for people to stroke my egos, because I'm still blown away by it. And I'm just trying to figure out what do people like about it? What would you want different, or what would you want extra? What can I do for you guys that you're not already getting? I'm genuinely interested in it because I'm happy to mix it up. I always want to do the live Q&A, because when I first set out doing this channel, and for those of you that watched my early videos, I was talked about going live, and selfishly, I go live for one reason, and I also go live for a very practical reason, because the selfish side is I don't have a huge amount of time. And so if I go live, I don't then have to spend ages trying to edit a video and polish the life out of it and make it perfect. You guys get to see me warts and all, right? You get to see me when I make mistakes, when I screw up, when things go wrong. You get to see all of it, right? Hopefully, those of you that met me yesterday, you'll know that however I am on the camera is kind of just how I am. If I make a fool of myself, fine. That's absolutely fine. But the other reason why I go live is because it's really hard to fake in a world where you've got AI taking over and you've got, AI being integrated into everything. It's a really hard thing to fake. So with you guys asking me questions, I can come on, I can talk to you, I can give you live feedback, and you're never wondering, is it Mark? You're never quite wondering that. Well, actually, Jackie messaged. It's quite funny, actually. Sorry. So I was trialing some stuff last year. So I was tickling myself. Mark, why are you laughing at yourself? Well, because I was trialing some stuff last year, but I was trialing it on my own personal Instagram account, and I'd set up this AI bot, and it would talk to people in a way that it was basically like a sales agent, and it would talk to people and it would ask them questions, and then it would try and get details out of them. And I was doing it for a particular reason. I was doing some stuff with property in the UK, and I was trying to just set something up for that. And anyway, so Jackie messages me on my personal Instagram, and I completely forgot that I even have this thing set up, because I set up a Cyprus Unfiltered Instagram for you guys so that if people want to message me, you can. But she messaged me on the personal one. And anyway, for all intents and purposes, she's had this long conversation with my AI bot. And I just found it hilarious, because I found all the messages probably about, I don't know, maybe a few days after, or maybe a week after. And I had to send her a voice note and apologize, because I was like, I'm really sorry, it wasn't me. Because every other question was like, so have I got your name right? Is this, what's the best email to get you on? Just like, oh my God, so sorry. Anyway, why am I talking to you about that? Oh yes, because it's really hard to fake. Because in the world of AI, where people are faking everything, literally, you could fake my voice now. You can fake my face. You can fake this, but it's really difficult to fake the live interaction. And generally, if people fake stuff anyway, it's polished. So, like I say, you get to see me warts and all. There's no editing, and you get to see this. So anyway, that's why I'm doing it. I'm interested to know the feedback. So I'm going to have a look, see what feedback there is. But also, if you have any of the questions, please ask away, because that's what I'm here for. We're only on 10:30. So I've done some marathons before. Happy to do a marathon again. I didn't have a lot of energy. I was tired earlier after the water park, but as of right now, feeling quite good, feeling quite pumped. So if you've got questions, ask away and I will answer what I can. James, what was the protest in Larnaca about today? I don't know. Let's have a look. I'm intrigued now. I actually have no idea. Larnaca protest, Cyprus Mail. Farmers threaten airport closure as protest escalates after failed talks. Oh. Livestock farmers threatened to shut down Larnaca Airport on Thursday as protests escalated following unsuccessful meeting with Agricultural Minister Maria, I'm not going to pronounce the name, intensified disruption I'm not going to pronounce the name, at a roundabout. Lasting 4 hours, the meeting failed to break the deadlock between government and the farmers on measures in place to contain the spread of foot and mouth disease, specifically the forced mass culling of animals. Suddenly, there will be an escalation of measures, and Stella Petru, representing the farmers, media told. Okay, there you go. It was something to do with the foot and mouth disease and farmers. Didn't know there was riots. Where did you hear about that? I'm assuming you're on the island, or maybe you've read it on Facebook or whatever. But I hadn't heard about it. But then I've not been on social media much, so yeah, don't know. Wow, lots of things now. Right, Stefan. Hey, Mark, we are now back in Northern Ireland after our 2-week test. Me and the 4 kids are ready to move, but still waiting on the wife to decide, considering Cognac and the coastal towns to live. Cognac is lovely. And interestingly, is your wife watching? And if so, what's the biggest hurdle? What's the biggest doubt you've got? Like, what is it that's holding you back from making the move? Because it sounds like, you want to do everything, you want to move, but what is it that's holding you back? I'd be interested to know. If you're up for it, put it in the chat. But for those of you wondering about Cognac, by the way, Cognac is actually quite a nice place, and it's very good to. And I've done the maps and stuff before, but the Cognac is. Let's just go to the map. Cognac is just here, and it's really good for those of you thinking of moving to Paphos that aren't quite sure where you want to be, because you can get to Paphos Airport quite quickly from Cognac. You can also get to Limassol quite quickly, and although it looks like it's a far way away, the reason why you can get there quickly is because whenever you go on the motorway to get to Nicosia, to get to Larnaca, to get to Limassol, right, you want to go anywhere else on the island, pretty much, you want to go east, you go on this A6. You can go on the B6, but mostly you go on the A6. It's the fastest way of getting there. So Cognac, you can literally jump straight onto it. It's great. Whereas from where I'm at, I have to probably drive maybe 10, 15 minutes to get to this roundabout. Whereas if you're in Cognac, you're already nicely located. That said, if you're in Cognac and you want to go up this way, then obviously it's going to take you longer. But yeah, Cognac's great. It's good. Like I said, that was one of the places we considered, actually. We looked at a house in Cognac. Lee, hey, Mark, when are you setting up the merch shop? I don't know. I mean, I don't think anybody would buy anything, let's be honest, because let's say this bottle, the Buzzio bottle that isn't mine. I love this bottle. It literally comes everywhere with me. In fact, actually, I'll answer your question in a minute, Lee, but so yesterday we went to this meetup, and I think it was Lee and Lou that had said, you brought your water with you to a restaurant, or words to that effect. I was like, yeah. They're like, it's almost, well, it's socially acceptable out here. Like in the UK, if you bring your own drinks to a restaurant and you put your own drink on the table, they don't like it. But I drink so much water, and the kids drink so much water. We'll always buy drinks in a restaurant. We don't go and sit in a restaurant and never buy anything, but like we'll buy coffees or soft drinks or whatever, but you always just have a bottle of water with you. So it's kind of socially acceptable. And what I saw yesterday, and this is just something I noted myself, is that for the people that are relatively new to the island, like might have moved this year, nobody had bottles of water on the table. But for all the people like myself and people that had lived here for a while, so Phil and Chet, for instance, we'd all got bottles of water on the table. So yeah, it's just something that I noticed out here, and I only noticed it yesterday. Really, is the difference between people coming here or people still in that UK mindset versus when you're living here, and you start to just fall into that way of life. And while they say you can't bring your own drinks, like today in the water park, like bringing your own food and drink is strictly forbidden, apparently. And I just walked through with my water bottle in my hand. Nobody cared. They saw it, and nobody cares because it's warm. People drink, and it's not like we didn't buy anything at the water park. We still spent €50 on food and stuff, but we just take water in with us. So yeah. Anyway, I don't think, if I'm honest, unless you would buy them, unless you think it's worthwhile, but I don't think people would want a water bottle that said Cyprus Unfiltered. You probably don't want a baseball cap. You probably don't want stuff with that on it. So I don't know. I don't think there'll ever be a merch shop. Like I say, that the whole point of this wasn't to make money from it. It was just for me to get out of my own head and have a creative outlet. But if you think that it's worthwhile, I could do some sunshades, something that's actually practical, something that people get practical use out of. But no, there isn't a merch shop yet. I don't see one on the horizon just yet. So, but it does make me smile though. Philip, I know from my own research that gluten-free products are now readily available in Cyprus. Yeah, you get sections of gluten-free and you get sections of, what's the other one? You can tell I'm not gluten-free, can't you? Oh, there's a joke in there somewhere. I might offend people now, but I'm going to say it because it tickles me. So I'll just say it. How do you know? How do you know somebody's gluten-free? And it's something like, because they'll tell you. Always tickle me anyways, like the vegetarians and everything else. I'm really sorry. I'm not vegetarian. I'm not. What's the word? If you can't have gluten, you're a vegetarian if you don't eat meat. You're a vegan if you don't eat kind of like animal products. What are you if you're gluten-free? I don't know what that means. Anyway, I'm interested. But yeah, you can get gluten-free sections and you can get like the free from sections, and you even get like world food sections and stuff now as well. So, you go down there and be like Polish sections of the shop still and stuff like that. You see Polish things and quite cool. But yeah, there are separate sections like that. And the thing is, with Waitrose, if you go into Philippos, there is a Waitrose section, where it's just all Waitrose products, all very expensive, but it's just all Waitrose products, So yes, Alex, before we moved, huge value as you have so many questions. Now that we're here, there's less of that, but still examples of stuff we haven't done yet, e.g., road tax on the car. Okay, cool. Interesting. Thanks, Alex. And yeah, that was my thought really, is that people will watch before they come, but once you're living here, you're already experiencing life out here. You don't need to listen to me prattle on. At least that's what I thought anyway. But it's interesting that people local still watch. I find that fascinating, So yeah, I mean, that's cool. Thanks for the feedback. Much appreciated. Kevin, so we're still trying to decide whether to take the plunge because of family, friends, etc. Getting more info from you and questions, comments from others helps me to feel I've done the due diligence. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? What I would say though is come and try it. Come and try it, Keith. If you and Sarah are in a position where you're thinking you want to do a little bit more due diligence, then just come and try it. Do an extended stay. That's what we did. I know some people that have kind of jumped in both feet after having maybe been here for a few days on a trip. It took us, we were here for 6 weeks. That was off the back of another holiday that was 11, 12 years prior. So we came here for 6 weeks and we did it because we weren't sure. And the thing is, moving country is quite a big thing. You're literally picking up your entire life and you're moving it to a new country and you don't know anybody. You've got no friends when you move out there. The culture's different. Everything's different. Like the way you go shopping is different. Everything's different. While it's scary on one hand, it's also super exciting on the other because it's nice to be different. It's nice to have a different set of routines and it's nice to just be able to experience life in a different way. So I'm glad that you're getting some of that out of it, Keith, and I'm glad that it's helping you do the due diligence. But yeah, if you're not sure as well, like I say, just do some extended trial living if you get that opportunity. Just do some of that. But yeah, appreciate the feedback. Philip, gluten-free products in the UK are very expensive, and the cost in Cyprus is even higher. Yeah, I like I say, I'm not gluten-free, so I don't know the cost of them. And yeah, I mean, if you're saying it's higher, then there you go. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should do like a gluten-free video and just go around the salad bars, like looking at the price of all the salads and the fruits and the veg. I'm sorry. I'm only saying that because I'm not allergic to anything. I don't think I'm lucky. I'm lucky actually. I'm not allergic to things. As you know, I can pretty much eat anything, which is why the size of me. You know. uh, where we got to, Martin. We really like the unbiased views on so many topics. It's delivered in such a natural way that it makes it more engaging. We like the way you flip to screens with info to street views, etc. Oh, thanks, Martin. I appreciate that because I didn't know people actually enjoy that because, like I say, you could just go and watch Paphos Life and watch him drive around, listen to some cool music instead of listening to me. But that's cool. I'm glad it's helpful. And I appreciate the feedbacks. Thanks very much. Alex, but now it's more about being in a community of like-minded people in a similar situation and hopefully give a bit back to those considering the move or just arrived. Ah, oh, Alex, love that. Absolutely love that. And honestly, that's a good part of why I set up this Cyprus Unfiltered meetup. Because when I came out here, there was Blunches, and that was like business entrepreneurs meetup and stuff. And so I went to Blunches a few times, and Jonas, the guy that runs it, lovely guy, is a great community that he's been building. What I found though was that they were all kind of business entrepreneurial type people, which on one hand is great, and I love that, you know, and I want to meet more people like that out here. But on the other hand, they were in a different stage of life to me. So of the people I was meeting, they didn't have kids. And I was being invited round to house parties. We arrived in August, and within about 2 or 3 weeks of me arriving, I was invited round in a pool party, which I just thought was a thing that happened in American movies. I got invited around to a pool party, and it was great. We spent the Saturday. We were drinking, you know, eating, drinking beer in the pool at 10 o'clock at night, and it was lovely and warm still. You know, had this pool party, loads of music going on, stuff like that. Just met loads of random people. But it was very sociable, but my wife and my boy were at home, and that kind of sucked. So what I'm trying to do is make this all inclusive for everybody. You know, it doesn't matter if you're retired, it doesn't matter if you're just setting up, if you're younger, if you're older, it doesn't matter, you know, because there's no agenda. So people can just rock up and make friends. That's the agenda. Meet people that you might be interested in staying in touch with. You know, that's the agenda. So it's really nice to hear you say that, Alex, because actually, if you're in that situation, like you say, you can help other people, right? You know, it's nice to pay things forward. You know, if somebody's helped you, and just pay it forward to somebody else that might need a hand or whatever. You know, so that's awesome. Love it. Martin, not sure what else we would add. Just keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, Martin. Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate that. That's really nice of you to say. Philip, you are the eye in the sky, Mark. You are the eye in the sky, boots on the ground. You help us with your knowledge. Much appreciated for all that you do help, especially for those of us looking to move there one day or arrived. Cool. Thanks, Philip. I appreciate that. And the thing is, you know, that I can only do what I can only talk about what I know about, right? And I can only talk about where I live. And I can give you, like, for instance, I'm going to go back to the map. You guys said you like the map, and I'm just going to use this to prove my point. I can talk to you all day long about the West Coast because I live around here, right? I can talk to you a bit about Limassol. I can talk to you a bit about Larnaca. And I can talk to you a bit about the villages that I visited in the mountains at Christmas time. And, you know, when I was doing the filming for the Eurovision video that I did and stuff like that, you know, just the location shoot thing. I could talk to you about Nicosia. But a lot of my knowledge and experience in those places are pretty much the tourist views. You know, I can tell you what it's like, and I can tell you some great places to see. And I can tell you what it's like when you go to Paralimni, when you go there in the winter, because it's a ghost town, you know. So I can tell you from my experience, but the majority of my experience is kind of on the West Coast because that's where we live. And so, you know, some of it's going to be very niche. And I appreciate, you know, of the people that are looking to move to Cyprus, a percentage of them will look to move to Paphos. And on that side, I can help you out. I can put you in touch with people that I know and all of that good stuff. The further east you go, my knowledge becomes thinner and I can't give you as much help. Like I couldn't point you at a lawyer or a solicitor in Larnaca or, because I don't know anybody there. So I can only help you with the things on the West Coast. But no, I appreciate it. And I will always try and help where I can. And the other thing is, I'll always be transparent. If I don't know something, I'll just tell you I don't know it. There's no harm in not knowing. I'd rather tell you I don't know it than try and make something up and waffle through it and just talk rubbish to you guys. It's not how I work. But I appreciate the feedback. That's cool. Cliffy Karen, message retracted. Okay. Alex, appreciate it. May not be her bag, but interesting to hear a bit more about Joanna's experience as well as your own. Bit like Jacob's session a few weeks ago. I'm glad you said this, Alex, because I said the same, but she wasn't really up for it. She's only ever been in one video. And for those of you that haven't seen, it was when my wife came back. She was in Philippos car park. Here's a reason not to go Philippos. She was in Philippos car park. She was inside shopping. Oh, I've got an update on that. I want to give you an update. Glad we're talking about this. So she was in Philippos car park. She was inside shopping, and she came out with a trolley, and there was sort of 2 or 3 cars around our car, and like one of them had kind of rolled into our car. And anyway, that was something that happened to her. And so when she was telling me this, I just filmed the pool video. That was the one that was jerking left and right because I was testing out some of the kit and I hadn't got it right. Anyway, so it was really jerky and it was moving left, it was tracking me, but it was tracking me too quickly. But straight after that video, she calls me up and she's like, Mark, I've had a crash. I'm like, oh God, you're right and everything. She's like, well, I haven't really crashed. It's like somebody bumped into me. I'm kind of bigging it up a little bit then, aren't you? Anyway, so she comes home and she was telling me all about it. And as she came home, I was like, don't tell me anything. I don't want to know. And literally covered my ears. I don't want to know. She says, why? I says, because we're going live. And so I dragged her up here and I put her on and I was like, right, now tell me. And so in that video, if you haven't seen it, in that video, I was finding out about what happens when you crash in Cyprus for the first time, just like you guys were if you've never crashed in Cyprus. And it was really ironic because only a couple of videos before that, I've talked about insurance companies and go, oh, never had to use them in Cyprus, never had to crash, no idea what it's like. And 2 weeks later or something, I knew what it's like. So anyway, if you're interested in what it's like, then she tells you all about it. I tried to get Asha back on and she's not really up for it because, well, not because, basically she doesn't do what I do. She like, I'm comfortable talking. If I know the subject, like I was saying about being introvert and extrovert, I'm comfortable talking. And yeah, she's not that. But I will do what I can. Maybe we can do another session with her, and you can all ask her questions, and we can do a what's Cyprus like through the eyes of a woman. We can try that through the eyes of my wife. Don't know, Asha, if you're watching. Oh look at that. No thanks, Asha. You got to give the people what they want to see. They want to see you. The sick have seen me. But no, I mean, there is something I tried to do. So I did give. I gave like a health update on my wife because it was her experiences with healthcare rather than just my own. But we'll try and do that. Like, even if she doesn't want to come on camera, then I don't know, next time she goes and gets her hair done, I'll get her to tell me the process and I'll tell you about it. Clearly, I won't go and get my hair done. But if she doesn't want to come on camera, and a bit of peer pressure here would help, try and get her to come on camera. If she gets enough moral support behind her, maybe she'll come on. But yeah, maybe I can talk through some of the female stuff as well. Life on the island in the eyes of a woman. I'll try that. But yeah, good shout. Good shout, Alex. Alex, again, so more insights into the online shopping realities would be cool. Okay, I'll tell you what. Before I answer that question, I've just realized that I forgot to tell you the thing that I'd already forgotten to tell you the thing about, which is the update from the accident. So I'll tell you the update from the accident, and then I will talk to you a little bit about online shopping. We can do a little bit tonight. The accident. So I said at the time when we had this bump, and it was actually quite funny because our insurance company is Abbeygate. Really good insurance company, really like them. And I like them for many reasons. I won't go over them again. I have said them in my videos, but I like them for many reasons. Excuse me. But what I wasn't sure about was, unlike the UK, I didn't know if insurance was a scam out here. I always feel like insurance is a scam in the UK. And the reason why I feel like it's a scam in the UK is because take that scenario, for example, right? You could be in let's say Tesco. We talked a lot about Tesco. So like, you could be in the Tesco car park inside doing your shopping. Somebody hits your car, and then you have to go through the insurance or whatever because it's an insurance job. And now for the next, 3 years or 5 years, your insurance goes up, not just on that car, but on any car that you're insured on, because statistically, you're now more of a risk when you're inside doing your shopping, right? That drives me insane. So when it came down to Abbeygate, well, the first thing that made me smile was every car that was involved in this bump in the car park. There was our car. And again, I showed you pictures of this at the time. There's our car. There was another car that hit us. And there was another car that hit that car that pushed that car into our car. And the guy jumped in, saved our car with his leg. That was funny. Anyway, poor guy. All three cars were insured by Abbeygates. So you could just imagine the insurer turning up, looking at it and going, oh, for fuck's sake. So anyway, all three cars were insured by Abbeygates. So it's not like they could even blame anybody else or say it was the other person's fault because they were paying for all of them. Let's be honest. Anyway, I didn't know what the insurance renewal was going to be like, having now gone. I didn't claim on the insurance because there was barely any damage to our car. So it's not like I claimed anyway. But I didn't not tell them. They obviously turned up. So they already had the accident marked against us on the name. It was a non-fault accident, just like you have in the UK. Now, my insurance last year was €550 for the Land Rover. €550. And that was for any driver over the age of 25. Anybody could drive it. If we've had friends come out from the UK, I can give them the keys and they're insured fully comp. As long as they're over 25, Abbegate don't care. Like no endorsements, whatever, 25 years old, below the age of 70, you can drive my car. Well, you can't, but if I give you permission, you can. So €550. This year, now, because the accident is on my record, it was €565. So it'd gone up €15. And I was like, hang on a minute. I ain't having that. So I rang him up. And I said, my insurance has gone up. Is that because of this no-fault accident or is that something else? Is the no-fault accident even on my insurance? So I wanted to be above board with it. And they're like, no, we can see you've had a bump, but it wasn't your fault, so it's fine. It's not impacted the premium. The only reason why it's gone up €15 is because the cost of insurance has gone up, and that's it. So my insurance, after having a no-fault accident in Cyprus, didn't go up. It was just the insurance premium had gone up €15, which I didn't mind considering the first year it actually came down, with no bumps or anything else. So even if they were taking it into account, even if somebody's gone, he's a bit more high risk now, whatever, they're not trying to screw you like they do in the UK. Literally €15 more than I paid a year ago. So I'm very happy with the insurance out here, very happy with the way they operate. And it doesn't feel like a scam like it does in the UK. So anyway, I don't know how we got into that, but we did. And then we're going to talk about online shopping. So more into the online shopping realities. Well, let me show you Bazaraki. Let's just go reject your cookies. Bazaraki is basically like Gumtree. So when you come onto here, it's secondhand stuff, it's jobs, it's things for sale, but fundamentally it's used things or things for rent if you go to property or property for sale. And there you go, Bazaraki Insider, top insights from the #1 marketplace in Cyprus. So you don't have eBay out here. You do have Facebook Marketplace, but Bazaraki is kind of where you would go to buy your secondhand stuff if that's what you wanted to do. When it comes to other online businesses, so for instance, doing this video tonight, you got Alphamega. Now, these seem to be the best for online shopping. And I've never done delivery with them, so I don't even know if they do delivery. Do they do that? Don't know. I mean, I guess they do, but basically, most of the supermarkets that I was talking about don't have websites like this. So that was Alphamega. If I go to, obviously, Lidl have a website. I forgot what. Let's say that I've forgotten already. Sklavenitis. I can have it. Right. Well, that's not the way you sell it anyway, because actually, Sklavenitis is this one. That's the Greek way. I can copy that. That's the Greek way of saying it. So now, if I go to this, what have they got online? So they've got a website. Oh, see, that doesn't help me, does it? Let's go English. Oh no, we've got the English there as well. Let's do that. Locations, catalog of food. I mean, it's rubbish, right? You cannot, like, home and garden, that's it. And so you kind of get the point. Oh, and you get to flick through 60 pages. Online shopping for food is not really a thing out here. Yes, you can use Foodie, you can use Walt and stuff like that. You know, it's like Uber Eats, that type of thing. But if you want to get things delivered, so actually at the moment, I'm waiting for something to be delivered, but I'm actually getting it delivered to a store because I don't trust the postal system out here. You know, if you're interested in the postal system and how bad it is and how it seems to work or not work, I did do a video on the post. It didn't get very many views, so I'm guessing not many people have seen it. And let's be honest, it's quite a dull subject, but it talks about the frustrations of the post on the island. So even when you will get things being delivered, they don't always deliver it to the place you want to deliver it to. Right? I was getting protein shakes delivered. You select a location, it goes to a totally different location. So getting things delivered is quite tough. And what you end up doing is you get a call from the driver on the day. It's almost like so for instance, we ordered some stuff from IKEA because IKEA was 2 hours away. So we ordered some stuff from IKEA, plus it wouldn't have fit in the car anyway. And you put the address in and they kind of get to roughly where you are. But then they'll always call you up and you have to send them the pin, like the Google Maps pin, and you send them the location of your exact place. And then they will come and find you. And so it's not like just ordering something in the UK. Like if you're doing online shopping with Amazon, it's not like that. Like Amazon will deliver around the clock. You can order something at 10 p.m. at night and it'll turn up 8 a.m. the next day. If you live in London, you can get it delivered the same day, right? And it will come to your address. And if you live in a block of flats, it will still somehow get to you. But out here, you can literally show them where you live and everything else, and they'll just send it somewhere else. You know, it's just like, it's in Paphos. He lives in Paphos. He'll get it. He'll get it somewhere. So there's that side of things. Then you've got the imports. If you try and bring anything in from the UK, that was a freaking scam. So I had a part needed fixing on the on the Land Rover, not Range Rover, on the Land Rover. And what it was, the gear selector, the dial, had broken, and it's a common fault. You can get them repaired because you get it refurbished, and they change a part of the interior part, or you can see, talk about being extrovert and introvert. I know very little about the mechanics of cars. I love driving. I'm a massive petrol head, but I'm trying to talk about something inside a gearbox I know nothing about and making lots of mistakes. Anyway, inside this gear selector, there was a thing. And that thing was not very good when Land Rover made it, but you could get that thing refurbished with another company in the UK, and then that thing doesn't break anymore. So I sent that to the UK. When I sent it to the UK, I had to pay freaking VAT and like import duty to go into the UK because I was technically importing something in. But then DHL, so basically DHL knew that it was a temporary import because I said, look, I live in Cyprus. I could prove that I lived in Cyprus. And I sent it in there and I said, they're going to send it straight back out to me. It's not like I'm going to import it like this thing. My car's broken down, sent them all the details of the garage. Anyway, I had to pay the import duty there. Then when they sent it back, DHL charged me another €60. And they said, oh no, we have to charge you because it's just the way our systems work. And I was like, well, then your systems are crap, because why do you have to charge me something when you know full well that I'm not importing it and exporting? Like, it's my part. It's like literally, it went over there, it got fixed, it came back. But anyway, DHL charged me and they said, oh no, now you need to claim it off HMRC. I was like, oh, for God's sake. I didn't bother. Like for £60, like if you call HMRC, you'd be on the phone for an hour. Like it's not worth my time to try and claim back this freaking £60. It's just not worth it. So I left it. So I ended up paying import duty twice, like tax kind of going in now. And it just, oh, come on. So anyway, if you're trying to bring stuff in from the UK, don't, unless it's in your suitcase and it's a gift, and don't do that because, you know, somebody will say, oh no, Mark's encouraging smuggling in and VAT tax evasion. I'm not. But if it's a gift, you know, you can bring gifts in right below a certain value, below like £150 or something, you know. So if anybody wants to gift you a reconditioned gear selector, then yeah. But what's the other thing? So if you're importing, say you want to buy something from Amazon, if you want to buy something from Amazon, you're pretty much going to go to Amazon DE, the German one, Amazon PL, the Polish one. And quite often the shipping will be more than the product itself. So Amazon's not really a thing out here. when you've lived out here long enough, you soon come to forget about Amazon because, yes, when we're coming back to the UK in about 3 weeks' time. And there will be things that we buy on Amazon, but we kind of, when you first come out, you're missing everything because everything's new and everything's a little bit alien to you. You're like, you're so used to just being able to click something online and it turns up. What you find is that when you get out here, you don't have that convenience anymore. Like the websites for shops online, for the most part, are rubbish. And if anybody wants to come out here and set up websites for people, there's probably a massive market for it because a lot of the businesses out here have got really shoddy, really crappy websites. And so just trying to order stuff from them, it's just a no-brainer. Like I said, it's a no-go. You have to go into the store and, things like that. So if you're used to that, then you'll be in for a bit of a culture shock. But it does stop you spending loads of money on stuff that you realize you don't actually need. Like when I was in the UK, I was way more materialistic than I am now because you just buy stuff like every week. I'd have stuff turning up from Amazon. And it was stuff that you kind of wanted, but you didn't really need. Whereas out here, you have to be a lot more thoughtful about the thing you're buying because you want something, but you don't really have the opportunity to impulse buy. So then it's a case of, do I really need it? And most of the time you don't. You're just buying it for the sake of buying it. If there's something you really need, you can get stuff delivered. But for me, like I've got something that I'm waiting for at the moment, but rather than try and deliver it to my house, I just thought, you know what, send it to the shop and I'll go pick it up because I know if I send it to my house, it won't arrive. So anyway, hopefully, Alex, that gives you a little bit of an insight about getting stuff delivered here, but it's not amazing. Philip, come on, Asha. Yeah, don't be shy. You will be amongst friends. Come on, Asha. Absolutely. And she's not there. She's just stopped replying. She's not replying to anything. Oh. Philip. Oh, sorry, I missed one. Philip, I'm celiac. Celiac. Is celiac when you're gluten free? And I'm not actually saying that to take the mick. I actually don't know. Is if you're celiac, does that mean that you're gluten free? Lee, one for Asha. Can you get Polish? One for Asha. Can you get Polish food stuff in Cyprus? Yeah, you can. You can. But Asha, you should answer. Well, I think she's run away. We've scared her off. But yes, you can get Polish food in here, Lee. And it's there's shops you can go, like Polish shops. I think there's Polish food in the shops as well. Obviously not as plentiful as in Poland, but you do get the world foods and stuff. Cliffy, Karen, evening, Mark. Again, another very informative chat. I found it interesting, and as I'm a new shopper to Lidl here, I'm pleased to hear it's worked out the cheapest. Many thanks for your efforts. No worries, Karen. I'm glad it's worked out for you, and appreciate the comments as well. So that's always good to hear. Alex, maybe the meetups will be a more comfortable environment. Emma's list of important aspects of a move like this isn't 100% the same as mine. Do you mean for suggestions, as in suggestions about what else this could include? Because I'm absolutely open for them. So yeah, maybe the next meetup, come with some suggestions and I'll see what I can take on board for you all. Assuming that's what you meant anyway. Philip, can you rent or buy property on Bazaraki, and are you cutting out the middleman? Well, yes, you can, but you're not always cutting out the middleman. Let me show you what I mean. You have to excuse me while I have a drink. I'm talking too much. Let me. Right, houses, drawn area. Let's just. Okay, so first of all, let's go all adverts. We'll back up. No, backed up too far. 1 second. Let's go to real estate. That's the thing. Real estate and property. So in the UK, everything's property this and property that. And out here, it's very American. It's all real estate. So anyway, your real estate or your property for rent or for sale, you've got two options here. Now, there's more for sale than there are for rent. If you start with the sales, let's just start with sales for a second. As you can see here, you've got all different types of filters and everything else. So you can have new developments, apartments, flats, houses. Now, typically these will be resale. If you're looking to get permanent residency when you buy a property out here, you'll be looking at new developments, in which case, when you go on here, you should, in theory, be going straight to the developer. But actually, you'll find that these guys are all agents. So these agents will have whacked a premium on the top of these prices. And so what you're best off doing is trying to find the agent direct. So not the agent, try and find the developer direct, because you'll quite often get a bigger discount, because these guys will be charging anywhere between between 5 and 15% to sell a house. So there you've got the middleman. Now, if you're renting, let's just go back and go real estate for rent. This is a bit of a mixed bag. So you've got here, you've got this one, it's definitely got an estate agent in there. This one, I mean, there's nothing really on there. It's listed today, and I'm just picking one at random. Katrina. Been posting since 2020. So it looks like it could be just a person. She's selling a car and, oh, sorry, she's got a car to sell and she's renting. That's probably direct to vendor. You can message them on here, which is quite nice as well. So you can message that person directly. When I was looking to rent a house, I was having this conversation yesterday with somebody. When we were looking to rent a house out here, I found a house that was for rent with 3 different agents or 3 different people. 2 of them were the same price, and another one was €100 a month cheaper. So naturally, you start with the cheapest one. And they were very sporadic in their replies, maybe taking 4 or 5 days between replies to come back to me. The one that was €100, or the 2 that were €100 more expensive, one of them didn't reply to me at all, and then the other one did. And so I asked him, is that the final price? Because these other guys have got it on for €100 cheaper. And they said, oh, who are the other guys? And so I told them who the other guys were. And they said, great, we're going to get in touch because they don't have permission to advertise the property. And I was like, oh, how do you know that? And the guy tells me, because it's my dad's. Like, oh, so I'm speaking to the vendor. But what you will get are agents out here, or one-man band type agents, people that will take a commission, but they're not really full-on agents as such. It could just be people like you and me who will come on here. So like I could take this property now and I could make another advert and put it out there for rent, right? And somebody's going to contact me about it, but I don't have permission to rent this property out, but people will do it. But they can't rent it. But what they can do is pitch you something else that they do have permission, because I could get in touch with this property. Let's say there was 2 or 3 people listing this property. I go to the one that's cheapest, and then they go, oh no, that one's now not available, but we've got these other ones just like it. It's just a way of hooking you in. It's a way of, if you like, them capturing leads, because they'll advertise properties they don't even have permission to rent. I've heard of agents doing this as well. Agents will sell houses or advertise houses on their books that aren't even in contract with a person, because what they will then do is, hypothetically, let's say you had a house for sale. So you have a house for sale, I'm an estate agent, and I see your photos online with another agent. So I've got the details. I will get the details of you one way or another, or it could be to get details of the developer. If you're a developer, you can get the details pretty easy. And then I would sell your property. I would advertise it. You would look at it. If you came to my website, and you would think that I've got permission to sell your property. So then another person comes along. They go, I like that property, Mark. I would like to buy it. And I go, okay, cool. Then I contact you and I go, hey, just to make you aware, I put some photos up of your property on my website, and I've now got somebody that wants to buy it. Pay me 5% and I will pass you the sale. Pay me 10%, I'll pass you the sale. That's how they operate out here. It can be quite sneaky in a lot of ways. But anyway, hopefully that answers the question a little bit. But yeah, both for sale, both for rent. You can get the middleman sometimes. You can get direct to vendor sometimes. Could have just said that, couldn't I? Martin, do you have an update on your medical situation if you feel you can share? I do, but I'm still waiting a little bit. Okay. So last week when I had the consultation, the doctor that was sorting me out, we went through for the MRI scan. I had the MRI scan done on, God, when was it? Can't remember what it was. A week ago Friday? No. I can't remember now. I wasn't prepared for this question tonight. I had the MRI scan done recently anyway. I think it might have been Tuesday. No, when was it? I'm making it up. Anyway, had the MRI scan done. It was when the hell was it? It's going to annoy me now. Right, one second. I can't even check my phone. 1 second. Okay, I can't find the date, and I don't want to waste your time. I had the MRI scan done. It turned around pretty quickly. I got the MRI scan results back, and now they have to do a biopsy because it's come back as one of two things. And the first one could be a forgot what they call it, an abscess. First one could be an abscess. Basically, I don't know if you can see it on camera. It's like I've got a lump here, right? And that lump it's hard. It doesn't move. It's not painful. So an abscess is one scenario, or the other one, it could be a tumor. Don't know. And so they've got to do a biopsy to find out. And I'm waiting from the so the maxillofacial specialist, who was the guy that did the operation first time round, he'd ruled it out. First of all, he'd ruled out cancer and everything else, and then second time now this is different. And he said it is different. The MRI scan has obviously shown this now, and it shows it clear as day. But they need to do this biopsy, and so I was waiting for him. Like he said, we're going to get the results within a week. We're going to find out by the end of this week. We'll know. We'll get clarity on what it is, you know. And he was swearing. He said, "We'll figure it out for you." Anyway, once I got the MRI results back, I emailed them over to them because again, it comes via email. It's really cool. So it comes via email. Emailed it over to them. Said, "Hey, there's the results. Can we get an appointment? I want to get this biopsy done now, ASAP." And that was on the Thursday. So yes, I got the results on the Thursday. And then I didn't hear anything from them on Thursday because they said, no, the person does the appointments out till Friday. So then I called them on Friday to say, hey, can I get an appointment? And that was in the morning. They said, we're going to be in touch. Got impatient, called them again in the afternoon. I was like, hey, I really want to get this biopsy done, please. And they apologized and they said, look, the reason why it's taking so long is because we are waiting for the response back from the ENT guy. He's the guy that stuck a camera down my nose, down my throat, and they're waiting for a response back from him. And I was like, oh, but I thought this maxillofacial specialist was going to do the biopsy, not the ENT guy. And they said, no, because if I go with them, it would be private and I would have to pay them cash like I did last year. I paid like €900 for the operation. So they turned around and said, no, what we're trying to do is we'll go to the ENT guy because with him, you won't pay anything because you'll get it through Gessi, which I just found absolutely staggering because essentially, right, you think about it like this. You've got a private doctor, a private surgeon. He's a plastic surgeon. You've got a private doctor and he, for all intents and purposes, is playing the middleman, playing my PA in this, talking to another doctor so I don't have to pay him any money. I just found that staggering in a really good way, a really positive way. So anyway, that's the update that I've got, Martin, at the moment. I'm waiting for a date and an appointment from these guys. I'm going to chase them tomorrow because I haven't heard back from them. I did message them at the weekend or on Friday to say, hey, heard I'm coming back to you. Can I have an appointment? And so I'm just waiting for that. So I'm going to message him tomorrow. Again, super cool. It's all done via text message. I don't have to ring him. And just like, if you do ring him, he'll say, no, can you just text me? So I'll just text him and I'll follow up tomorrow and hopefully get this biopsy done and we'll see. We'll go from there. But whatever happens, and I'm in the best place for it. And this is the thing. People are worried about healthcare, right? In the UK, I'd probably still be waiting for a referral for an MRI scan. Whereas now, I only re-engaged with the hospitals about 3 weeks ago. And I have the results back of the MRI scan of the blood test and everything else. I've got the results back for all of that. I'm just waiting for the biopsy. And when I get the biopsy, that's going to be quick as well. So as long as I get this appointment, probably within the next week, I will know exactly what it is. And like I say, the speed of that compared to the UK, I'm in the best place. That I know. So I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm not worried. It is what it is, right? I generally will only worry about things I can control. Can't control this. What will be, but I'm in the best place for it. So there we go. Hopefully that answers the question, Martin. But yeah, I appreciate you asking. Nick 0Q1W. I think it's from the owner. Right. I think it's from the owner. You can, but if someone is acting as an agent, be careful as they have to be registered with relevant qualifications. Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to be. Whether they all are, I don't know. I wouldn't know what qualification to ask for, but yeah, certainly. you do get unscrupulous agents for sure. And like I say, I met a guy last year when we were looking for this place that we're in now. And I remember he was talking like he'd got a big stock, a big portfolio, and he was talking about his boss and this, and like, oh, my boss has got this house, and he's like, well, if you don't like this one, he said, I've got another one on the books, and he explained where it was, and I was like, oh, yeah, I just viewed that this morning, and he goes, and he went a bit sheepish, he's like, oh, have you? Yeah, we just viewed that with another agent, but he'd made it sound like it was his boss's. He made it sound like it was his, and he was advertising multiple properties for his boss. And yeah, clearly he was just blowing smoke. Or you've got lots of people scrapping over the same properties. So anyway, yeah, they can be a bit unscrupulous. Yeah, that is illegal. Yes, it is. I guess. Yeah, but then who's going to know? If you call them up on Bazaraki, if you from the UK call them up on Bazaraki, how are you going to know if they're registered or not? You're not really going to ask them. If they get you a viewing and you go down there and they put you in touch with the vendor and you pay the vendor, the fees, the deposit, whatever, how do you know whether they're legal or not? It's a bit of a gray area. It might be illegal, but what are you going to do about it? They're all out there. You've just got to be careful, and you've got to know how to filter them out and stuff like that. And it's a bit of a tricky situation, but it's not like going on to Rightmove. If you go to Rightmove in the UK, you pretty much know that to be on Rightmove, that the agent, even if they're small, they're going to be legit. But you don't know that out here. You don't. You'll see them on Facebook Marketplace and everything else, and you just don't know. Will you guys be working through an agent when the time comes on your development, or will you try to go direct to market? To be honest, Alex, it's a good question. And we've been talking about this quite a bit. We haven't fully decided yet. If we go via an agent, we're going to be paying between 5 and 15%, depending on the agent that you use or that we use. So there is a big part of me that wants to go direct, because that way, all we're going to do, if we go to an agent, they're going to put money on the price. So we'll charge X amount. They're going to then put their fee on top. It's just worse for you guys, or anybody that wants to buy a house. It's worse. So I would always try and go direct where I can, because I don't mind. Agents, if you get a good agent, I understand the value that they have, because they can do the viewings, they can do the staging of the property and stuff like that. And that's what the fee's for. So I get it. You get a good agent and they can be worth their weight in gold. But if we want to pass on savings and we want to make it as cheap as possible for people, while still making a profit, at the end of the day, nobody goes into business to not make a profit. But while still making a profit, if we can then deliver something at a cheaper price, then it's going to be more beneficial for them and for us to go direct to vendor, because we won't make any more money. We'll charge the price that we're charging. It's just people won't have to pay the agent, because essentially, we won't pay the agent fees. They'll just build it into the cost and they'll just charge more. So ideally for other people, be nice to go direct and save them some money. So that's what I'd like to do. But it just depends, because, having that, if I'm not advertising via an agent, then I'm going to be advertising on, say, Facebook or something like that. Or you go to Rightmove, or, one of the things I have looked at actually is the Place in the Sun, and go and getting a stand there, because, I think as we get moving more and we start to get more momentum, I'll probably go to a Place in the Sun and get a stand there, because for about $3,000, you get a stand for the weekend. And, you're going to get a whole bunch of leads off that. And the thing is, if you made one sale, you're going to be saving probably 40, 50 grand in agent fees for your $3,000 for the weekend. So, all right, there'll be hotels and there'll be travel costs and everything else to go and fly back over to the UK. But that's where I'd like to get to, so it can be direct. We can get leads coming in directly that way. And then, not necessarily using the agents all the time. Because I just think if we can go direct to customer, it's a better price for them. So. Cliffy, Karen, Mark, I did some research ref prescription medicine availability in Cyprus mentioned last week. I discovered I can get them in Cyprus. Awesome. That's good, Karen. I'm glad. That's really good. I mean, you're always going to get medicine in Cyprus. You might get a Greek equivalent. But what I do find is that you can get prescription medicines that you wouldn't normally be able to buy over the counter, and you can buy them over the counter. I won't go into too much detail, but I had a friend in the UK and he'd tried all these different creams from his GP and everything else. And he couldn't get any of the creams to do anything. And he was waiting for referrals and this and that. And I says, I got some steroid cream and I bought it over the counter in the pharmacy. I was like, just give it a go, right? Just see if it helps. And he was like, Mark, it's like magic. It's like just gone. He tried all these different things with the GPs in the UK. And he tried this little bit of cream that we got here. It was like €9 or something. And that was it. Gone. So you can definitely buy things. You know, it's not saying, you know, obviously you use it at your own risk, right? You know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a GP, and I'm certainly not a drug dealer. So, you know, but you can definitely get things here that you can't necessarily get in the UK, but you can pretty much get most of the things here that you would get in the UK anyway. It's just you got more availability and more access to it. The Blue Haze Moto. Hi, Mark. Great stuff as usual. Great to meet you last month. Looking forward to catching up in July. Andy. Yeah, good to meet you too, Andy. And yeah, it'd be really good to see you in July if and when you come back. Depending on when you come back, if you're here on the first of, well, not the first, if you're here on the first Saturday of July, you can probably meet everybody else as well. So that'd be quite cool too. Martin, thanks, Mark. Sending you our best wishes for the next steps. We're thinking of you. Cheers, Martin. Cheers, Sandra. I appreciate that. That's yeah, appreciate it. Like I say, I'm trying not to worry about it. You know, like I say, I'm in the best place for it. What will be will be. Like I can't control it. So you know, whatever happens will happen. But I'm positive. I'm positive about it. So it's all good. Philip, best wishes, you Mark. Yeah, thanks, Philip. Appreciate that as well. Much appreciated. Sounds like there are some dull boys out there regarding property renting and buying. Yeah, there are. There are. But it's the same with everything. You know, you see people selling cars out here, and the Cypriots have a different definition of excellent condition to what you would have in Britain. An excellent condition can mean ripped leather seats, it can mean holes in the bonnet and stuff like that, but they see it as excellent. But then when you see the state of the cars out here, they're probably not wrong. Anyway, right. We've got 28 people online. We're at 22 minutes past 11. I'm going to have a drink. So I'm going to go to my like and share screen just so I can have a break myself and stop talking for 30 seconds or so. I will say, as always, if you are enjoying this content and it's helpful in any way, shape or form, then just, you know, like and subscribe. But also if you can share it with other people that you think might benefit from it, that would be awesome. Because like I say, I'm just trying to build the content and build the channel that didn't exist when I was looking to move out to Cyprus, because this was the sort of content that I was interested in. You know, as much as top 10 beaches are nice and drives around are nice and, you know, all the tax benefits are nice. You know, I think most of the people know that, and we knew that. That's why we wanted to come. But it was that next level of detail, that next level of information. So that's what I'm just trying to document for people. It's what I'm trying to build for people. So yes, I will come back to the questions in a bit. If you guys have got any questions, then feel free to ask them in the chat. Otherwise, we can start winding this down and let you all go. I'm not going to hold you up if you don't want anything from me. But I'll drink. If you've got any questions, ask them now. Right. Wonder how many of you just sitting there watching, listening to the music. All right. Okay. So there are no more questions in the chat, but there is a bit of a delay because my like and share screen is still on in the chat. So we'll see if anything else comes through. And if it doesn't, then I think we can let you go. Or you can let me go, whichever. Whichever happens. Philip, great content again. Thanks, Mark. No, thanks, Philip. I appreciate it. Appreciate the feedback. Like I say, I'm glad people actually get some benefit out of it. I'm still finding it a little bit surreal, if I'm honest. You know, that people are actually interested in listening. I find it surreal that people are actually getting value out of it. I kind of always hoped people would. But it's nice because, like I say, it gets me out of my own head. I just get to do this for fun. And I like chatting and meeting you guys for fun. It's great. So yeah, appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you making your Sunday nights. Well, I'm sure you're not making your Sunday nights available for this, but the fact that you're spending Sunday night watching me right now, I appreciate that. So that's cool. Martin, we're flying over to Paphos on Wednesday for 10 days. Oh, cool. This Wednesday coming. Wicked. We're flying over to Paphos on Wednesday for 10 days. Let me know if you need anything bringing over. Chocolate raisins. That's awesome. Thanks, Martin. Appreciate that. I will have a think. I'll have a think. Can you fit a ninja fryer in your suitcase? No, actually, no. On a serious note, talking about ninja fryers. So ninja fryer, the one that we want, because we do want to get a ninja fryer. I wasn't just saying we do actually want to buy a ninja fryer, but the one that we want on the island is about €350, and the same one on Amazon, it's about £150, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, why is it so expensive? I mean, I understand it's expensive because it's an island. You kind of got the hidden island tax, when they're importing everything. But it's more than double. So anyway, there's a top tip. When you're moving, so you and anybody else, when you're moving over, if you've got appliances that you are thinking about buying, definitely buy them there and bring them here. Don't buy them on the island because it's bloody expensive. So yeah, there you go. Andy, I've noticed you only have 9 likes. Come on, guys, there are 28 watching. Yeah. Cheers, Andy. Yeah. Why is nobody liking it? That's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind. I got thick skin. The fact that the fact that my average view duration tonight is 28 minutes, that actually pleases me more than somebody pressing the like button, because it means that you've literally had me on for 28 minutes, and that's quite a strong feat. That's more than an episode of The Simpsons used to be. So you've either put me on and walked off to the next room and forgot about me, or people are still actually interested. So, like I say, likes and shares and followers and all of that, they're all kind of vanity metrics in a way. So I'm not that bothered about it. I appreciate if you do like it, and if you share it, like I say, it helps other people, which is, always a good thing. But if you subscribe, not subscribe. If you subscribe, it's not really going to benefit me anytime soon. It sounds horrible. It makes me sound really ungrateful. But it's not. It's like, unless you've got 100,000 followers or more, you don't make anything from it, right? You don't make anything from AdSense. You're making pennies on the pound. So, I'm not. I would rather have no monetization on the channel and have 900 people that are actually getting some value from this than 10,000 people that don't even tune in, right? Because that means more to me. It means more to me to talk to you guys and to meet you guys. So there we go. That's the way I feel about it all. So yes, but I do appreciate the support. So thanks, Andy. Have you liked it? Did you like it? Are you one of the 9? Right. Okay, guys. So we are nearly 11:30. If anybody wants to ask anything, now's your chance. If anybody wants to know anything, now's your chance. Otherwise, I'm going to let you go. And here we go. Philip, look forward to Asha making cameo in the near future. Yeah, I don't think she's on anymore. She's kind of stopped responding. But Astra, if you're watching, then see, you got to give the people what they want. But yeah, she was there yesterday, actually, for those of you that were there yesterday. So she came with them. My son was there as well. Jacob, he was there. So if you've got kids, if people are coming and, if you are coming to any of the meetups and you've got kids, bring them. All welcome. Jacob would love it because he'd have people to play with. Yesterday he had one of his friends to play with, which was nice. So, the whole point is, when I went to Blunchers, that it wasn't really, it was just like younger people, couples and stuff like that. And while it's cool to meet entrepreneurs, I like to meet people that are in my circumstances as well, my situation. So there we go. But yeah, if you've got kids, then, Ash is there. Ash has moved back to Poland now. I'm surprised he's still awake, actually. Asho, come and say hello. Come and say hello in your pajamas. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Alex. Good night. If nobody else has got anything else, we'll let you go as well. I'm going to go. So appreciate you all tuning in as always. I will speak to you all next week. For those of you that tune in live, have a good week all. Appreciate you. And I will catch you soon. Cheers.